Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal, guys. Hope you're having a great day. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. I've been talking about this show for a couple weeks now. I'm excited, so let's get with it. We've got Amanda hidden backstage. Amanda, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you tonight, Glenn?
I'm excited to have this. This has been one I've been looking forward to, so...
Yes, fingers crossed, nothing happens. Aliens, UFOs.
Yes, that's right. We were talking ET, and sometimes when we talk ET, strange things happen. See, Omar is already in the chat. So, all right, well, we're going to do this a little different. We're going to bring out the editor before we bring out the main event. And Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Welcome. We're glad you're here. Well, you know what? We're just going to bring Taki in.
Yeah, obviously I wasn't speaking enough. There was dead air, so it's like bring it on quickly.
Well, no,
I see what's happening.
Well, like I said, I've been so excited for this one because I read Alienated #1, and I really love it. As a paramedic, though, my only question is a nursing home, but. You did do CPR in it, but so
he did, and the CPR was he had to do it to the sound of
Staying Alive.
Yeah, Staying Alive.
And that was actually correct too. So
yeah, because I took a CPR class once, and they're like, "Yeah, go with that rhythm." So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Hey, she knows something about EMS." So.
That's all I know. I know
sci-fi and saving lives.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know. You never know. So, what got you this story? How was it? I don't know. Was it just something you've always wanted? Mark and I were talking earlier about us growing up and reading a lot of books about aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that how it started?
Well, it's based on a true story.
Okay. All right. No, I'm still with you. I
just woke up one day with an image of alien, basically invasion, I guess. But except that when they arrived, they all died. So we wake up and like there's just like aliens littered all over the streets, all over the globe. And that's the only like image I had in my head, and that's all I had. And I was talking to my husband. He's also the cover artist for Alienated as well. Yeah, I just had that image, and I just told him about it, and I was like, it's kind of an interesting image. I think there's something there because I keep thinking about it, and I keep wondering, like, well, how do they die? How do they arrive? Why did they arrive? What do they want? You know, and like, I just found the whole image like really intriguing because it's like, well, it answers the big question of, do aliens exist? Well, yes. Okay. In this story, they do exist. But since they're dead, we have more questions than answers, and there's no way to get to the answers.
So basically, she wakes up in the morning with a vision, and then we just discuss it. And as we're discussing it, you start to unfold a story that you didn't know was there, because she wasn't like pitching this in the morning. You know, she was just saying,
"Oh no,
I just woke up with this." But then we started just talking about the possibilities of it, and eventually it leads its path down to what could be a story.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it starts out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of a higher concept. So I wanted to ground it so that it's, you know, more relatable. So I focused it on a family to tell the story through their lens.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
I love it.
And And Cheyenne says, "Hey, that's how some of the best stories start, just out of a vision." Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
As a firefighter paramedic, I got to tell you, that was the first call of the day. It would be horrifying. So, aliens laying everywhere.
Well, like that was the beginning of the conversation. Was like, how would people react? So, like, for a second, like, what would you would just assume it was a joke. You wouldn't even think it was real, right? I mean, and given the context of today's situation, if I saw a broadcast or whatever, I would just assume that this isn't real. It would be like, the harder question is, what would convince you that this was actually happening?
Right. I mean, like we've all seen, like, like basically we've been told that like these UFOs are real and they don't know what it is, right? They like they were denying, and then they weren't, and nobody blinked an eye, really.
Yeah, in 2017 when those
those
videos
like
came
they're
out,
just like, okay, cool. And
I got bills to pay.
Yeah.
Exactly. It just dropped off. Like nobody cared.
Yeah, the same thing
We
happened
cared.
like
We thought it
in
was
Jersey, like all those
interesting, and, like, we
drones
keep
that
track of it. I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying, like in Jersey, like the drones, like it was like all anyone was talking about for like 2 months straight, and now like no one has mentioned it for the past like it dropped completely. No one cares.
Yeah.
It's crazy how these stories like peak. Everyone's outside, like with binoculars and cameras and flying their own drones, and then suddenly it just stops.
Yeah, because like people still have lives to live, I guess, so like, okay, so we don't know what these crafts are.
Well, we did get a really bizarre explanation a couple weeks into the new administration, and they basically said, after they had said, like, through the DOD and stuff, that we don't know what any of this is, we're keeping an eye on it, don't worry about it. Then, like, weeks later, it's like, oh yeah, this was all part of an FAA thing, no big deal. And then just kind of left it at that. It was really really weird. So obviously something was going on, and then it's hard to tell the difference between what was really going on, what was just, it was a couple of weeks after the holidays, so there's all these holiday sales on drones. Everybody's got more drones. Now they start sending up their drones to check out these stories of the drones and stuff. And it, as you guys know, anything in the paranormal world, it's really, really hard to sort of separate the wheat from the chaff, the signal to the noise kind of stuff. And if you do actually have something going on, it's really hard to tell what the truth is.
Yeah.
And now with AI, that could throw that in there, and it confuses it even more. So yeah. Well, we used to joke in Washington D.C. growing up, if something big happened, the Washington Post would run a story the next day blaming it on a squirrel. I mean, you could like totally lose power in the state of Virginia. It was like, yeah, a squirrel chewed through a wire. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
I kid you not. That was what the Washington Post story, and we used to joke about it.
Wow.
So
Squirrel. Well, likely culprit.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to have that, and a combination of like going through the COVID stuff, seeing how people react in mass to these large events, and then trying to figure that out for the story. It really helped sort of inform some of the choices and stuff, which made it easier, I think, for you to just focus on a family as opposed to all these bigger events and looking at it from a global point of view.
Yeah, so I did touch on like how society handles like the whole event, but yeah, essentially it's all about this family who discovers the one single surviving alien and what they're going to do about it. And thank God that they're nice people.
Yeah, not typical Americans who like to blow shit up.
Yeah.
Well, and one
they
thing
just
I do
adopt this alien.
and that was going to say, one thing I like is you got it through different age groups' eyes during the comic. And I like that because that will not only reaches out to everybody, but it does give a different angle.
Yeah, definitely. So I have this deep love for the elderly for some reason. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, there's always that. Like, I've always had connections with, like, friends' grandmas or grandfathers. Like if I meet my friends, like, you know, elderly grandparents, and I'm like right there, like just we're gonna be friends, you know. And I loved my grandparents, and you know, so yeah. So there's that, but I also like purposefully chose the elderly and teenagers because I wanted to talk about the importance of like sacrifice, and these two age groups are specifically excluded from making their own choices, right? Like if there's like a sacrifice that needs to be had, an elderly person is usually like, well, it's automatically you because you're old and you've already lived your life. And it's wrong for teenagers to choose themselves because they haven't lived, and like, but they don't really have choices, you know, in the eyes of society. So that's part of the reason why I chose those two age groups.
That's deep. That's good.
It
That's
is.
great.
That was a long bedroom conversation.
Yes. Yes.
But it's so true. I mean, it really is, especially from a paramedic. I see that it's so true. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. I like that. I hadn't thought of that. That's good. So,
One of the things that I appreciate about Taki's work, if I may say so, as her husband, she's always looking to avoid the conventions of a genre, right? Like when you're telling a story, there are certain things that you expect to be part of the story, right? And you want them to be part of the story, and they're done well, they're satisfying and stuff. But often she'll find ways to sort of circumnavigate those expectations. And this genre, you know, an alien who's trapped on Earth, right? There's been several series and movies and stuff about it, and yeah, I was really taken back by how she figured out a way around those conventions, kind of almost every time, to say something new, like the cast that you chose, the fact that they're all dead when they show up, you know. Yeah, it makes me proud. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Thank you. But I'm pretty sure this story's been told before, and
All stories have been told.
Exactly. But thank you.
we've certainly given a fresh set of eyes, that's for sure, if it has. And one thing you were talking about, I don't want to exclude Mark either, but you were talking about it does take a village because you are the idea, you drive it, but then you need obviously the cover art, but you have to explain to an artist what you're seeing up here. That's got to be difficult.
Oh, are you talking to me?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna as the edit. I'm gonna bring him in as the editor. Well, I am. I'm sorry. I am, but I am. But you have to.
I don't speak very well.
Allow me to answer for her.
Okay, go ahead.
No.
I'm sorry. What was the
So, well, I mean, it's got to be hard, and it does lean into Mark some because you have to find somebody, and you're going to have a good relationship with them, I would assume, because you're telling them, okay, in this frame, I want this and this, and then once you get it and you get it to where you like it, then Mark has to come in and go, yeah, that doesn't work. You're got to 86 that.
Yeah. So I'll usually do like a script for an issue, and I'll send it to Mark. Mark will tell me like, oh, this doesn't even make any sense. Like, what is this? Is this even English? And I'm like, I tried. English is my second language, so thank you. And then and then he'll give me like really good feedback. Oftentimes too, like I will consult with him, and just before I even start writing, and just kind of ask him well, I'm kind of thinking on going in this direction. Does this make sense? Stuff like that. So he has like a lot of input
Sure.
in like decision making for sure. And our like working relationship goes like way before this Alienated started at all. Mark is actually a writer himself, and he wrote like an entire basically anthology, like a sci-fi anthology, by almost by himself. Like you wrote like basically like 90% of it, right?
I think it was like a little more than half, but I mean, Chris Northrup, my partner at my company, Horrible Future, we do comics, and Taki came on board and co-wrote 2 of the anthology stories with me. That's how we kind of worked together for the first time. It was cool.
Yeah. And then like we were like, we should keep working together. So you know,
when this came around, I mean, Mark had not only was a good writer, but he's also had and know what it's like to work with Taki, but he had the experience of editing, of actually, you know, putting all of this stuff together. So it was just an extension of their working friendship and relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a lonely, you know, like, I mean, they have a unique situation where they can kind of bounce ideas, but it could be lonely writing a story. And a lot of times the editor is that person, you know, who you have to bounce these ideas. Like, is this going to work? Does this make sense? Because it might make sense to you. So it's a good filter. It's a good collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Mark has given me like, you know, notes on like, well, I don't know if John, who's the interior artist, would get this. And I would have to like kind of reword something so that it's comprehensive and, you know, all that stuff. So like, yeah, I mean, editing is a big part of, you know, making a comic.
Okay. So it goes to him before it goes to art.
Yeah, so it gets filters through Mark, and then he'll do the final approval. Like, okay, now it makes sense. So now we can send it to the artist.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. I didn't know.
How
that.
exciting is it to see the artwork and see your story come to life?
It is exciting as heck. It's really
Can't
really
imagine.
exciting. Yeah. The artist John is like, he's been our friend for almost 20 years. So, but we've never worked together before until this project. So I kind of knew what to expect, but not really. But when he came
It
back
looks
with
amazing.
right? I love that. I love it so much. And like when he came back with character designs, I gave him like really vague descriptions, but I specifically had a very like picture in my mind of like what these characters looked like. When he came back with his designs, they looked nothing like what I pictured, and it was the most delightful experience. I'm like, yes, this is what they're supposed to look like. They were always supposed to look like this, and now I can't imagine like them looking any different now.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, some of the frames capture such raw emotion too. It's
Mhm.
or cells, I
It's
guess.
fantastic.
Yeah. He captures like acting like really well.
Yeah, especially considering, like, you know, part of this takes place in a retirement home, and you wouldn't think that the characters would have that much body language going on. But John, without getting too cartoony, like I joke around, they feel like Muppets, like they're you know,
Right.
their sort of body expressions and their hand gestures and stuff. So like, even though they're just around a, you know, coffee table, you know, all the characters are animated, and Brolia also does just amazing sort of family scenes, you know, which makes everything feel very real. These characters have relationships to each other, and John's doing all that through his body language. He's just a great cartoonist.
Yeah, very much so.
It's really cool to see. I mean, because like Taki will write the dialogue, obviously, right? And then John gets that, and he like picks that moment that captures like an entire conversation, and it's just one snapshot of it. But you have to kind of capture all of it. All of their expressions have to like match both bubbles.
What they're supposed to be saying. Yep.
Yeah. So it's I mean, doing sequential art is I mean, really impressive. You know, compared to just doing a standard illustration. It's storytelling. It's a new form of story, and it's a whole type of storytelling. It's really cool.
Yeah. Comics is a very, very specific storytelling. I love it so much. It's very unique. I've mentioned this many times, but like, it's like a film, but not at all. It's like prose, like novel, but not at all. It's a storytelling device, very unique on its own, just like film and books themselves, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just for kids anymore either. So
No, it never was.
well, yeah.
No?
Did you grow up with liking comic books, or did you have a certain character that you really were drawn to, or?
Well, me personally, I didn't really like get into comics until I was in my mid-20s or late 20s, and that's when I decided, like, I want to make this. But Mike,
Yeah, I've been drawing comics since I was about 12 or so, and I've always had an interest in, you know, UFOs and paranormal and stuff.
yeah.
I mean, one of the comics that you were reading when you were young, you know, had well, I'm forgetting the guy with the eyeball and his father.
Oh,
an eyeball.
Gege no Kitaro?
Gege no Kitaro was all ghost stuff. It was all the yokai and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you like paranormal stuff in comics, there's like so many books to choose from out there that kind of cross over in those territories.
In fact, he's actually working on a comic called Blue Book, which is literally based on the
Project Blue Book stuff.
Project Blue Book. Yeah, that's through Dark Horse.
Yeah, and the first volume we did was Betty and Barney Hill. And then the next volume was 1947, the very early years of ufology and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I'm not working on any part of that at all. But
it's all aliens all the time in this house.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Mark? Did you have certain ones you were drawn to growing up, or was it?
You know, I was going through young. I was in a horror phase, and I was like a Fangoria lover. I like Nightmare on Elm Street and all those. And I remember, Creepshow, believe it or not, was the one that like I had to find, and they made an actual comic of it. But that was actually my first. It wasn't as much superheroes. I was always gravitating toward the horror stuff, the EC comics, Tales from the Crypt. Like I would love. That's my jam. And
I did not know this about you.
Yeah, I never really.
That's my jam too, Mark. I love it.
Creepshow is just like peak horror, like for me. But yeah, so that was where I started, and then that evolved as just I've always loved like 1980s Stranger Things kind of thing. Like I mean, I'm kind of like a little bit of a cliche on that aspect. That's also what, of course, attracted me to this story, where you know, aliens and ET. I'm wearing my Close Encounters of the Third Kind shirt. So I kind of came through like the movie side of it, and really enjoy like that overlap. I enjoy the spin-offs, prequels. But yeah, that's my story of it.
Oh, that's cool. Well, there's, like you said, there's so much out there. So
yeah. I mean, there's something for everybody. That's the thing, is like you hear comics, and even as we write these and produce these, it's like you say comics, and people just tend to go, "Oh, that's like, isn't that for kids?" And there's some really grown up, like serious, you know, stuff out there that if you just look, a lot of the stuff you see in bookstores is very limited. And if you really look at like a lot of the independent stuff that's coming out, there's some really, really cool, deep, fun, really creative forms of storytelling. So
one of the most popular books right now is a manga, a horror book. What's the guy's name? Juni Ito.
Oh, Ito, he's one of my favorites. That's
horrifying. I mean, like it's hard to capture truly scary stuff on paper.
It's literally disgusting.
Yeah.
Have you read is it Amagara Fault? The one
No,
where
I'm only aware of the books. I haven't. I'm not much of an actual.
There's one where like there's a crack in the wall and people are drawn to it, almost like Close Encounters, like the Devil's Tower. Mm-hmm. They're all drawn to it, and they decide to like go into this really small crack space. And I don't want to. It's a short story, but it's like they're all horrific. They're
very David Lynch like.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amanda will probably right after the show download them. So
It sounds like this is an Amanda thing.
Oh,
for
it's-
sure.
It's excellent. I mean, if you like creep show and those kind of things, I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more. Well, no, it'd probably fit in with creep show, to be honest. And they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's like creep show meets manga.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll
there's
have
a
to
lot
find that.
out there for sure. But
well, and yeah, there's so many the superhero trope and then the zombie trope. You got all that, so that's why this is so fascinating to me. So, and you, how far? I know 7 issues. Is that correct? Is that how many?
six
planned?
issues.
6?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you plan on doing more? Or
Well, I think it's a finite story.
Okay.
But I am a confident enough writer that if it was popular enough, I do have more story.
After the movie comes out, there'll be more comics.
But I did write it with the intention of it being like a very like finite story. Again, yeah. But yeah, 6 issues. It was supposed to, when I signed on for it, apparently it was only for 5 issues, but I guess somehow decided it was 6 issues until it was too late, and I just finished writing issue 5, and I figured out that it was only supposed to be 5 issues, and I'm like, oh, great. I don't know what to do. So luckily they were like, yeah, 6 is fine. But
This is after an emotional breakdown.
yeah, I like had
You're like,
a heart
whoops.
attack. And
Yeah, I was like, stay
yeah.
alive.
Stay
Stay alive.
for like a weekend. Yeah, but yes, 6 issues.
well, it's kind of like Kirkman. He just decided one day he's done with writing that, you know, with The Walking Dead. So,
Is that finally done now? The comic?
well, the comics are. I don't think he's drawn into Hollywood now, and they've sucked him in, and he's got the money. So I think he'll be. Now he still runs. Was it Dark Horse? He still runs it.
Skybound.
Skybound.
Yeah.
He still runs it, and he's got other things. But yeah,
Yeah.
well, he actually just took over the Transformers world, so it's a
Oh,
comic
that's nice.
book here.
Interesting.
But that was the ones I grew up loving. But
Yeah, I knew Robert a little bit as he was coming up in comics, and he's just a fanboy. You know, he just loves all this stuff. So it's not surprising to see, even at his level of success, to go, I just want to write the Transformers. It makes sense.
He used to give Mike like a piggyback ride.
Yeah, I used to write him like a tauntaun.
That's got to be the quote of the show right there.
Right.
We were like Master Blaster from Mad Max, you know.
But yeah, so it's 6 issues, and I'm very excited for all of them to come out. I can't wait for people to consume the story that is Alienated. And at the same time, I'm currently working on one other project with Comixology, and Mark is also part of that too.
okay.
That is all. That is all we could say.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all we
yeah.
can.
I was Comixology. That's also Amazon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is important for anybody listening. If you're interested in this at all, you don't need to go to a comic book store. You don't need to order it on. Like, you just go online, and as soon as you order it, it's in your
right
hands.
there. Yeah, it's on your
You
screen.
can read it right now.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, don't even listen to
These
this.
guys.
What are you doing? Go.
Hey,
Just read it.
I have been pimping your book for a week now on all my shows, so I'm trying.
That's great.
You.
Yeah, I mean it really, and I don't. A lot of times we'll get authors and guests on, and I don't get excited about their stuff. But you, and then of course Omar later tonight, I'm it's the ET stuff, and I'm paranormal, and I'm all in on it. So I love it. And then with you, the CPR, that was that threw me over the edge. I'm like, I have never seen that in a comic book.
Yeah, I'm proud of that. I've actually heard from other people who's like EMT or whatever.
Aliens.
Yeah, aliens. Talk about
Lizard
that
people.
specific like I can't believe you
EMT.
put that song in there. Like that's perfect. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, thank you. I've only done it to a dummy, but yes.
Let's hope it stays
I've
that
heard
way.
the same thing. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll only stay to a dummy because it's not fun. But yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
really did. That's so is the paramedic. But I have enjoyed it. I am looking forward to more of it. And I can't. You started off. That was another question I had. And Amanda, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off a lot. I know. But how do you decide where each issue ends? Because I mean, you got to leave like a little hook to get the next one. How do you decide that? Or is that Mark? Is that what you do?
No, I mean that's Taki. I mean she'll often. I mean not often. There's only 6, so but I mean she'll come and what if we end here? What if we end here? And then each one has like kind of a theme to it that tells like its own little subset of a story. But yeah, you need that like that last moment before the Lost logo appears, right? Like you need them to want to come and buy number 2 and number 3. And I think she did a great job of that, of capturing that feeling of like, I need to get to the next one. It's a little weird now because we're so used to Netflix where you could just immediately watch the next one.
Yeah.
With this, you actually have to wait. So it's interesting to watch people experience it like with a delay. I'm curious how that's going to be different when they're all like released.
Yeah. I always end each issue with a cliffhanger for sure. But I kind of try to do that with every page anyway. Like I want to make sure that like each page tells a story or a beat and that you're excited to like turn the page, So I keep that in mind. But yes, I always try to end with a cliffhanger that kind of makes you go, I want to know what happened. So that's my goal every time.
You did on number 1 for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm already subscribed to the whole series on Amazon. So
Oh, yay! Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's also really difficult to talk about Alienated now because only the first issue is out, so I don't want to give away any of the mystery that's going to unfold. But like, what did you think of the last page with the weird image?
I'm hooked. Like I said, I'm ready for the next one. And I had read, I think Comic Book Review, I think they get a pre-copy. Is that right, Mark? They get one like maybe a month ahead of time and they do a little thing about it. Is that right?
I mean, that's up to there's a whole PR team and Amazon has been excellent here with that. So that's not a universal. That's just up to the PR and whoever.
Well, I had actually read about your comic, I don't know, months ago, and I had been looking for it on Amazon, and I was like, I know my co-host thinks I'm a nut, but I was like, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to see, because I was that fascinated with the story. It really.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And Amanda, I'll let you ask some questions because I'm the nerd that does all the.
You're good, Gwen. I think you're covering everything I've wanted to ask so far. You're good. I love the art, and I asked about the art.
Yeah. Thank you. John is a great artist, and I'm really excited to. Hopefully, we'll have more projects in the future with him. Because I really like working with him. He's very easy to work with. Mark is also very easy to work with. So, like I said, like we're working on something else together, and hopefully we'll just keep churning out more and more and more.
Yeah, one of the best things too is when this doesn't happen all the time in comics, but often with creator-owned stuff, you end up working with people who you really, really become close with, right? So like like I said, we've known John for like 20 years. Mark, we've known the last 3 years, maybe something like that. We've actually never met face to face,
Yeah, that's
But we've spent
right.
lots of hours together working on stuff over Zoom and stuff, and yeah, it definitely crosses over into sort of like, you know, extended family situation when you're making these comics, which makes it even more rewarding when people care.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah, there was a lot of kismet involved. Like when we were doing the original anthology, we happened to have mutual friends who we have met independently,
Yeah.
and that's how these guys got involved. But it was it's fascinating. And then, you know, our cover artist was this guy named David Mack, who you might know, and independently, like you know, these guys are friends with him, and everything just started coming together really cool. And when that happens, I don't know, it feels special.
Yeah, synchronicity.
It's rare that it happens this way, but yeah, when you find your people, you hold on to them tight.
And it was literally because like I was 3D printing a Phantom of Paradise mask for Mary, our mutual friend.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and Mike happened to randomly reply on social media like, cool. I'm like, wait, you know Mike? Can he maybe do one of the stories in the anthology? And then, like, you know, yeah, they're great friends. I'm like, why wouldn't you have mentioned this before? And then we met, and here we are 3 years later.
In the paranormal community, they call this synchronicities, where all these things line up because they mean something. And it's kind of easy to dismiss that, but then when you end up with situations like this, that, you know, it does seem like we were meant to be connected, you know. So yeah, there's definitely synchronicities here that's led to something special, not just, oh yeah, it's great to just work with these other people. Like it does have meaning to it. And then that carries over into the work.
Yeah. And I also think, you know, like-minded people just generally just kind of gather together, right? So Mark is a lot smarter than me, but
and both of us put together.
Yeah, but we like the same stuff, so I think that's the connection.
Mark has a whole fascinating background.
Yes.
You probably like to have him just by himself.
Yeah.
To just talk about like.
I'm going to ask before long.
Yeah,
I will
not
ask.
just his comic stuff that he did, but like he was a film editor and he worked on some amazing, really interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, every time he tells the story, it's kind of like this other layer.
Like,
well, actually, I mean, like for this, because of this nice lead-in, this was not planned. But one of my first jobs was doing publicity for the TV show The X-Files, on what was like before the internet. Like, like, I don't know if you remember, like when it was like AOL and CompuServe and like Delphi. So this company Delphi was owned by News Corp, and they were the ones who owned 20th Century Fox. And I ended up getting involved and working on the publicity for X-Files. And that kind of started.
And you were how old?
I was probably like 19 or something. A lot of times I was like faking and pretending to be an adult, like earlier on. I worked for Sierra Online, like doing a little bit of writing. Like remember Leisure Suit Larry? Am I really dating myself?
No, I love that story.
Lord,
like the King's Quest and all those. Yeah.
Yep.
So like Leisure Suit Larry was this like series that was like really pixelated, but like inappropriate for children. And I think
very
it was, like,
inappropriate.
I might have been like, I was in my teens, and there's these questions you had to answer to prove you're an adult. And like, so before playing the game, it would be like these trivia questions. And I actually ended up writing like a dozen of them for like one of the games before I was even 18. So I couldn't even buy the game in the store, but I was like writing it. The creator of the game actually made me a little certificate that said, this is to certify that Mark is old enough to write it, but not play it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It's kind of like the rule of alcohol. Like, you can be under 21 to serve it, but you can't drink.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But you can't actually drink it on the website.
So when you were working on the X-Files, had it become a thing at that point? Was it?
It was all. Yeah, it was already kind of like. I mean, it wasn't as it was like still on its upward trajectory.
It's like second season about.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I mean, but it was like it was full on. Yeah, like I was the host the very first time. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson were like on an online chat with Chris Carter, the creator of the show.
Oh my God!
They were at the TCPA. It's like the Critics Association, or TCA. Sorry, the Critics Association. It's like this like gathering, and it was like this was like really big for the time. Like having celebrities go on a chat. Like now we kind of think about it like that's everyone's doing that, but like having like these people come into like a hotel room and people asking questions like this chat right here, and having actual celebrities respond. It was pretty fun, and it was exciting to be like a part of that history.
See, every time we talk to this guy,
Every time,
it's
like,
great
that was a new story to me. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Fascinating.
Cool.
That's cool. Well, the X-Files is probably one of the groundbreaking things for a lot of the science fiction stuff. So yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
We're
certainly.
all
I mean, it's
Yeah.
still to this day. It's being,
Seriously.
I think it's being rebooted.
I had heard that.
By the director of Sinners, I believe.
Yeah, I had
I'm
heard
hearing
that.
so much about this movie. Like, I haven't talked to you about it yet, but we might have to go out to a theater.
Yeah, it's
So it's Brian Coogler's
You
or
want
Ryan
me to
Coogler's.
leave
Ryan
the
Coogler.
house?
Yeah,
I know,
Okay.
but basically, like, for whatever reason, somehow he got the deal to just make the movie that he wanted to without like real studio notes and stuff. And people are going nuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I was worried because some of the authors we've had on, they have a love-hate relationship with their editor. And one of them, he said, I'll open the email when he sends it back to me, and I will read it, and then I will not talk to anybody for 48 hours, and I will not reply to anyone or anything. And so,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
and they've had good relationships and they've gotten through it, but he's like, literally, he goes, this guy hates me. That was what he said on the show. He goes, this guy
I know
hates
some
me.
people like, yeah, we know a couple of creators who have like, actually it's with their co-creators, not the editors. So, but you know, I mean, that's what I said before. Like, not all these things end up like these relationships, like the three of us have, and well, the four of us with our artist John Brolia. You know, a lot of it's just, you know, you're just kind of bumping into each other as you're getting to the same goal.
Mhm.
But it's so much better when, you know, it
becomes a friendship, or like
Yeah.
basically like found family.
yeah.
and it has to be. I mean, creating something like this is hard. You know,
It's
like,
really hard.
you know, it's a difficult, and you have creative ideas, and they become like they're your baby in a way.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, so to your point about, you know, people getting mad at their editor, you know, like someone comes up with this idea that they're revealing like a piece of their soul in a way. It's not to be
Mhm.
cheesy about it, but like, you know, so Taki writes this script and she sends it over and she's so proud of it, and it's because of something possibly very personal, possibly trauma or a sad moment in her life or something that's very important. And then I write back, I don't really love this part, and it's because I don't know intentionally. I didn't try to hurt anyone, but like, this doesn't make sense to me. But you know, that could be taken really personally. So yeah, I mean, so that's why it's important to also have that friendship to fall back on, and know that it's coming from a good place of innocence. I'm not trying to attack or anything
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah, but it is a really difficult balance too, though. You know, one, because yes, it's fun, it's creative, and you know, whether you're friends or, you know, not friends, but just strictly editor or whatever, at the end of the day, it's a business and you have to be professional, you know? So yes, Mark is a friend. Yes. He's my husband even, you know.
Not me. That's my.
I know this guy
Okay,
right here. But like, but you know, like, I think it was the other day, I was like, I need that cover by this date, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't really want to like boss my husband around, but
Straight
Send
to
a
the
yelling
point.
at
Just,
like, when am
just
I
let
gonna
me
mow
know.
the lawn?
Let me know Taki next time, and I'll get on him. I'll ride him like a tauntaun.
but you know, like, but you know, being professional, being on time is incredibly important to me. So that really eats away at like being friends sometimes, because
the project comes first, you know,
Yeah.
and luckily we're on that sort of that same page of like, it's not about your ego, it's about what works best for the project. And then, I mean, when Mark did that giant anthology and he had to deal with 50 different egos, you know, and ego doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, right?
Right.
Like everybody has a sense of self, right?
Yes, of course.
But some of it is kind of toxic. Like, and again, the stories he walked away from there was like incredible. Like having to balance all that stuff could be nuts.
Mhm.
Luckily, we're all on the same page. Like, what's best for the product? What's best for this book? What's best for the story?
Yeah, and this is why I want to continue to work with Mark. I want to continue working with John, because they're both talented, professional people I can trust, and they're also friends.
Yeah, it makes it everything easier when you start understanding the language, even when you start reading the scripts, you know what to expect. Like by
Yeah.
issue 3, 4, 5, John just knows, and Taki knows how to write. Every single artist is going to interpret a script in a different way. And that's
Yep.
kind of like one of the first, that's why the first major project I did was an anthology with 15 different art teams, because it gave me like a real good crash course in understanding like who understands me, who gets me. And these are the type of people who I'd want to work with again. It just makes the next one that much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Have you
Okay.
actually all met up in person before?
We haven't.
We haven't.
We have
We've
it.
never
Just
met in
flipping here.
person. But I have, I did, I go to like Comic-Con in New York City, and I got to meet, of the 15 artists, maybe like 5 or 6 of them. Some of them were from Italy. So I mean, I've actually met like an Italian comic artist who worked on a book. Yet we've worked together more and we're closer friends, but we've never actually met. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. I mean, it's
Right?
have you guys met?
Yes.
Me and her, yes, we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We met at a movie premiere from one of our guests. So yeah,
Yep.
we did a thing. So yeah.
We both drove to Alabama.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
it was.
it was a good time.
Yeah, I had 6
Yeah, I
hours
have
with
a
the missus
friend-
in the car.
Right? I actually have a friend I've had for over 20 years who I've never met in person.
So how did you meet? Like, was it like World of Warcraft? Like, what was the?
I was a professional wrestler and he's a wrestling fan.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a cooler
What? You're a
answer.
professional wrestler? That's
That is-
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
so
Yes,
cool.
she's very
Yeah.
talented.
That is fantastic.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. I can't
you-
stand up quick without hurting myself.
I
Actually,
can't
you was
now.
a wrestler in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
you
was a
would've- you would've
cheerleader.
thrown him.
In high school for the wrestling team.
that's fine.
Nice.
And then you were like, I could do this. I got it.
Sure. I can go through a table and break it. Just slam me through it. I got this.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
It's why I
yeah,
had a
it's-
job as a paramedic. So
Yeah.
Because
You
of me
need people
putting
like
people
this in
through
your life.
tables.
Yeah.
It's job security.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's cool to have friends, that you've never met and you can still be close. You don't have to meet in person. Yeah.
Yeah.
and now
it really is
post
cool
COVID,
technology.
it's so easy.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like normal. Even the co-creator of the anthology that we worked on, I mean, we finally did meet in person, but we finished the book like that we co-wrote together, this huge 2 books actually. And we had not met other than Zoom. And
Wow.
and yeah. It's
Oh,
cool.
when did you meet Chris in person?
This a few months ago, he was out here. Because he has family
Really?
here. Yeah, he came out and
Wow, I had
we
no
spent the
idea.
day together. We went to some comic shops and yeah, it was cool. But you know, but it's not, it's not weird. It was like just like,
Oh yeah, because
You
I
know?
mean, just because it's just through the screen doesn't mean that like you're a different person. So yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
yeah. I
But
think the
yeah,
only
like
thing is,
it's,
like,
it's
height.
weird because like this partner that he's talking about lives like
Close to us,
yeah, next town over from us. So
Oh, wow.
we've met
Yeah,
like
yeah, so my wife went to high school with him.
Oh.
He moved to the West Coast. My wife was like, you got to just talk to Chris. You got to talk to Chris. Because like you guys remind me of each other, kind of thing. And then we talked, and then like he's now next to them. It's all just
yeah,
he
it's-
said it. Synchronicity.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like, I
Pretty
mean, even
much,
adding to
yeah.
that, like their friend, David, who did the cover, to even take it a step further, like we were chatting for the very first time on Zoom. I had met up with, I just walked up to David at his booth at Comic-Con, and I was just like a nobody, and I explained the project, and I'm sure he gets a lot of people annoying him all the time. And at first he was just like, like he gave me his normal like card for his like agent or whatever, and then like just as I'm about to walk away, he's like, wait a second, and then he like wrote his email address, and I'm like, I think we got to him for the cover. I thought, and this was before any influence from these guys here. And then the very first time I'm on a Zoom is when David, like it, the little beep went off, and David said, "Yeah, I'll do the cover for you," as I was speaking to them, and they happen to be like friends. Like,
Yeah, but yeah, like we're like.
David married us.
Yeah,
yeah, like
so we got officiated, and he married us.
Really, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, David Mack, the
That's
famous
great.
artist.
yeah. So like
Mhm.
Chris loved David Mack because when Chris was like first, as Chris wish he could tell the story, but he apparently was at a Comic-Con of some sort, and his father was talking about how much Chris liked art, and David Mack was like super nice to the father and like gave him something. He's like, "Listen, Dave Mack, like I love this guy. He's just a nice guy." And he's like, he's the guy. Like, just walk up to him and ask. And I'm like a nobody going up and saying, "I'm going to do a cover for my anthology." And yeah, I mean, so it's like all of these steps that had to take place. Like Chris had to tell me, go see David Mack because he's a nice guy. David Mack says yes. My friends, like who I knew for 20 years, who they knew for 20 years independently, like introduce us, and simultaneously like the person who married them is emailing. It was a cool message.
So that this is all leading up to us meeting an alien, I think.
Yeah,
I think right.
Yeah.
These are like end worlds signals, I think.
We
Yeah.
keep trying. We keep trying to meet aliens and see UFOs, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and that was going to be one of my questions before we get through with y'all. Do you believe in this? And have you had any experiences either with paranormal, RET, or Bigfoot being out west?
I'll let Mark go first.
I have to go first. I mean, because you're in the Pacific Northwest, so like you're more likely to see Bigfoot. But yeah, do I believe in it? I certainly believe that the universe is so big that there has to be something else out there. That's my personal belief. Do I believe that they've been to Earth? I don't even know if we know. I'll get a little deep, but I don't even know if we know how to recognize them. I think we tend to think a little too small, like they're going to be like Star Trek because the special effects budget, right? I mean, they could be here and just, a form of light. I mean, like what we perceive as an alien, I think is very short-minded. That's kind of my belief. In terms of what I've experienced, I've two really weird things in my life. I'll give you one. We were just watching a meteor shower, 5 of my friends at this like ranch, beautiful sky, and something just made me say, like, everybody watch this. There's going to be a meteor here, and I pointed up to the sky, and I swiped my finger, and at that exact moment, a meteor started where my finger started, and just went in the exact same direction.
Wow.
Everyone was just silent. And my wife just turns to me and goes, "Asshole."
Show off.
Like, because like
Right.
it's like the synchronicity happens a lot for me, I think. But that was one, and maybe it's because of this. But I used to have sleep paralysis a lot, but they were very vivid, and it did involve like I'd be lying in bed, and it would always be 2:06 a.m. Weird. And I would hear this rushing noise and like static, and lift out of my body, and I would always look outside, and the world was slightly different colored. Everything was like almost like an overcast, and there would be these silver and blue structures, and like on my front lawn, and it would end with a presence at the side of my bed, wearing a blue shimmery cloak, and with a grotesque face, not like a gray Zeta Reticuli alien, but like a this odd looking like green brown skin, and it would just smile at me, And then I remember just trying to scream for my mother, but then it would smile and I'd calm down and I'd wake up. So that's the closest I've ever come to it.
That's right out of Christopher Walken's
Yeah,
Communion.
we were.
Yeah,
It had and this it had a very Communion type of feel, and those books like terrified me. But yeah, being frozen and not being able to move and hearing that noise, but like floating out and like in the sky, it was like the same type of technology, but like the size of a Star Destroyer, but behind the trees. It was very, very detailed. And I woke up and I drew it as a picture. And but yeah, sleep paralysis.
You know, Mark, instead of saying this was just this weird sleep paralysis thing, sometimes, you know, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, maybe you were abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
I mean,
or visited by alien. Maybe you weren't abducted, but it sounds like
harassed.
They were like in
We
your
won't-
space.
Yeah, we won't go as far as saying he was probed. He was just sure.
Yeah.
at least that part was blacked out.
He was jostled.
He was
Yeah,
jostled.
he's jostled.
Jostled.
He-
My room was infiltrated.
a gentle probing. Now, see, Mark, you
But
told me to
that's
sit backstage. You didn't have a story, but my God, that's a great story.
Yeah.
I mean,
And like that's like legitimately creepy
Yeah.
because
well, but
it
it
had
ends
a
with
friendly smile. Yes.
yeah, it ended with like almost
Yeah.
like it's gonna be okay kind of feeling. It was interesting.
It's
Yeah.
like shh.
This,
Like,
but that's-
smiling.
That's
Like,
you know,
it's
that's
all
classic
okay.
abduction.
Yeah, no, it was like that, Amanda. It was more like it wasn't like shh, don't tell anyone. It was more like
Or maybe
No.
it was.
I mean, I got the sense of like I see you're scared. It's all good. Like
Yeah.
I don't want you shouldn't be scared kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the net feeling.
Yeah.
But
I
it did
don't
feel like it was
think you get that kind of
I've had
like
sleep
I don't
paralysis before. It was not like that.
right.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times it's supposedly very, very scary, right? Right.
Mhm.
And if it looked like it was trying to calm you, that doesn't
Well,
align
I
with
mean-
what I understand about
I was
sleep
terrified.
paralysis.
I remember trying to shout for my mother.
Yeah,
And
no, I
couldn't.
understand
Yeah,
that,
I've
but
been there,
just
had
the
that.
very
But-
fact that it
But at the end,
smiled
it
at
did
you
have that
in order, like, and you
Yeah.
said that you felt like it was trying to comfort you,
right.
right? So
Yeah.
I say it really happened.
There's a lot of details there for sure.
Because of that detail.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
of that detail. No, really, like because if you felt like that was its intention, like it was trying to calm you.
Well, kind of as you
Right.
said before about your possible belief about aliens, and we have this like narrow belief in it, right? Like, so these stories, I think there's a commonality to them for a reason, you know, and they tie back to all the fairy tale stories about being abducted by you know,
Fairies.
fairies as well, right? Like, there's a lot of commonalities to all these things. So, like, one of the theories is that the alien thing is really more of an intelligence presence that manifests itself in sort of like these kind of iconic ways, which is why they repeat themselves over culture and over time. So it might not be, you know, what we think of as alien abduction, but it might be whatever this presence is that kind of overlaps. I'm sure you guys talked about this on your show before. The paranormal and UFO stuff used to be so opposite of each other, but now like consciousness stuff seems to be bringing these experiences together. So, you know, I mean, it could really be something along those lines. This is sort of existential intelligence that somehow manifests itself either in real life or in our minds, or kind of both at the same time.
What
Okay,
kind of
Chris.
Forrest Gump life? Thank you, Chris. No, I mean,
Forrest Gump, a paranormal Forrest
I
Gump.
just stumble across aliens and it just happens.
That's a great pitch. See, this is where ideas come from. Is listening. Paranormal Forrest Gump. That's
Well,
good.
like imagine like right, it's about a guy who like everything is happening to, but he's just like, I guess it's just like with something else.
Just keeps writing it off, like keeps
Like,
explaining it
well,
away.
Like yeah, like no, it's just sleep
Yeah,
paralysis.
it's
No.
happened to you Wednesday,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, you know.
There's your next story.
Yeah, he's a professional debunker. So no matter what happens to him, he
Yeah.
finds an
Otherwise,
explanation to it.
he's a scientist, so his life it'll destroy
Oh
his
my goodness.
foundation.
Yeah.
I love it.
You
Okay,
could make it more creepy though. you know.
Sure.
It's all going to be okay. Almost like being
That's the
hypnotized.
creepy part. Is the comforting part.
Well, I mean, I think Mike, you're touching on something cool because, like, if it was a alien life form that could make it to Earth, right? It's clearly so much more advanced in terms of travel, wormholes, or
Yeah.
speed of light. That could our brain even handle it, right? You know, so is our mind just being blown so much that it feels like paralysis or other things, right? I mean, I do think there's some truth to the fact that, like, again, I go back to, it's not just going to be like, you know, like a Harrier jet landing and a guy going, "Hey," right? Like, we would be so different, and it would be like us trying to speak to a worm, right? What do they think when they see our function, right?
And just look at how phenomenon's changed. It seems to change with the times. Like in the 1800s, there were these airship sightings, right, where they were saying they were from Venus and they kind of look like humans but not, and they had like fake beards and they're in like a little like a balloon, right? And then it goes from there to the 1950s and everything is nuts and bolts and landing gears, space helmets and stuff. And then all that disappears. Now everything is like drone-like, or, you know, these sort of like light ship things. So, you know, why is the phenomenon changing with the time periods and stuff? And you can explain it away in a bunch of different ways, but like, I think we're looking for ways that we understand, instead of simply acknowledging that if there is this other intelligence, it's just going to be more than we can understand. And it's okay not to know. Like, it's weird that we kind of have to, like, you know, that nail down like, oh, they're Palladian this, or they're from this thing, or whatever. You know, I think the questions and the answers are much bigger than you know, what we're kind of feeding ourselves.
Yeah, you can't just put it in a box. Have you all had any paranormal experiences?
We actively search for them. We often go sky watching. We're near Mount Adams, which is famously known for a lot of phenomenon. So we would go, you know, like 2-3 nights and like look to the skies with like binocular, like a light gathering binoculars and like telescope and stuff like that, in search of anything at all, because
we're catfishing the paranormal.
Yeah, we're always looking. And we've also gone like a Bigfoot search with a actual like professional like
Bigfoot
searchers,
and paranormal people.
Before.
Awesome.
And so we're always looking, but unfortunately we have not experienced anything.
We were literally late for a Bigfoot sighting.
Yes.
So our friends, Alex Estrada, he's a.
You just missed him.
Yes,
I swear to God,
literally, quite literally.
The night we showed up at Mount Adams and they have the cabin, they had been out that day and they have like a classic Bigfoot
footprint that they
plaster
casted.
Paris,
Because they found it and like they're like, that's not human.
Yeah, it was classic Bigfoot stuff, and like we got to hold one of these things, which, you know, you grew up watching like In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy and stuff. Like, I don't know what happened or what this was a print of, but it was just so cool to be in the classic area of Bigfoot sightings and to hold this thing. And like our friends done these sort of hunts before, and like he knew to look for like certain signs in the trees, and like, you know, he kind of knew where to look. And you know, they didn't see anything themselves other than this print, and I think there was some other print stuff nearby, but it was like wet, so this is
it wasn't enough for them to make a cast out of. But
I'm curious, what are the signs like are you looking for like moss, like what do you,
there's
like
you certain ways, like if a tree branch is like broken in a very specific way.
I think it has a lot to do with the height, you know, that basically you know, like
a branch at 8 foot that's cracked. Is it?
But
it's twisted,
very specific. And
it's interesting.
Also, like, you know, some people speculate that they make branch basically like a giant nest for themselves to kind of hang out in. So, you know, they look for stuff like that. There's like a few other things too, like obviously, like if you see like weird fur that's just kind of stuck tree bark or whatever.
To a
Yeah.
humanoid-like creature running away, then you're sure.
Yeah.
Well, that obviously, yes. Yes, that's the
Yeah.
first sign.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very cool.
Well,
Well-
Glenn, we know who to contact when we go to Washington now.
Exactly. Exactly.
know-
that was what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
we know
There are
people.
so many cool, like, isn't there like a tree octopus too? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, you told us about the
You
show.
told us.
Like
Oh, I think I told
All-
them. Amanda, you
all
know?
together, where the logs are like all together. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, no,
where they
there's
push
actually,
them
like,
over?
It started, I think, as a prank, but like there's actually like people apparently in Portland, but yet they don't know about it. But like that, there's like they joke that there's like an octopus living in the trees to tourists.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, I've heard of
Okay.
this, but I forget details. But there is a bunch of other weird stuff in the Mount
Oh, yeah.
Adams area. There's this kind of purple Bigfoot, and they call it with bat wings. Does it have wings?
Yeah, it's got leathery like wings or something like that.
What is
and
the
it's
weird name? It's got a
little-
funny name.
A grape? Wait, no.
Not Grape Ape. That's a cartoon. That's not real. Grape Ape's not real.
Grape nuts.
This is real.
It's a cereal.
Bat Squatch.
Bat Squatch.
Bat Squatch. That's what they
Bat
call it. And, like,
Squatch?
Bat
Yeah.
Squatch.
Oh,
So then when we
bat
go out to the
squatch.
Mount Adams area, there's a small town. It's
And,
so small
and like
as-
everybody knows about Bat Squatch. Like, you know, yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's there's a camp like a place out there that's called East Eddy Ranch, which kind of has a Skinwalker vibe to it and stuff, where all
Ooh.
this weird things kind of
oh,
happen.
nice.
And we've been out there a few times, and it is beautiful. And I think part of the attraction is there's something about the landscape itself that is just, it feels magical. You know, if you've ever been to just a really beautiful place, and I think it tends to engage, I don't want to say your imagination, but some part of your psyche that makes this stuff more tangible in some way.
Yeah.
And we've never had a physical experience or seen anything, but like, you just get the sense, yeah, it is a special place. I get why people feel like they've seen stuff out here.
Yeah. Well, they have this like big giant like field and no trees and like a really good view of the mountain, like just right there. And yeah, it's quite beautiful, and there's no obstruction of any kind. And of course there's hardly any light pollution. So it's a really good place to go. So if you're in like south like Washington area, that's the place to go.
all right.
Nice.
Will you come back on at the end of the series so I can get?
I
some
would
more from
love
you?
to come back and talk about
Okay,
the book.
Mark, you.
You can handle it.
We're only
No,
like
yeah,
a
no,
4 on a scale of 1 to 10. I get it. It's okay.
Yes,
We'd
I
all
feel
do.
like we could talk for hours.
I do, and I've got Omar backstage, and I don't want him to think we're not
Yeah.
gonna,
I'm sorry,
we're not
Omar.
we're not gonna jack his time. He's gonna have as much time as he wants. I love Omar.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, seriously, I would love to have you back at the end of the series, because, like I said, it really, you give so much. You and the artist and the editor, true, but give so much tug at the heart on this that it's really, you know what I'm saying? It's really, it draws you in. And for a cold, callous paramedic, that's saying something.
Well, thank you so much. That means a lot.
So-
That means a lot.
And-
So absolutely,
Fantastic.
please have us back, and we can talk all about Alienated, and
well,
it'll all be
you-
out, so I don't have to be coy.
You're gonna have to find Bat Squatch, so we need more info on
Yeah.
that.
We need
I'm always
pictures.
looking.
There you
Go
go.
to Amazon right now and you can buy the book and
Exactly.
Look at Mike being the professional here. Like alienated.
No, he's.
Like
I was
Taki
getting
Soma.
there. He's right. Yes. Taki Soma, Comixology, Amazon, or comic book store. I assume I want you to
Oh,
get
it's
out there.
digital only.
Is it
right
digital
now.
only? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well-
I'm hoping we'll find a print publisher after.
in the future. But right now, this is
Right
where
now,
it is,
it's
yeah.
all digital through Comixology Originals, and it's available in any screen that you have. And it's number one is available right now.
Great.
Awesome.
Mark, any parting comments from you? I mean, I know you're the editor. You kind of got to wrap this up and tell us,
Yeah, no, I mean, just I think we covered quite a bit. I mean, this is it was exciting. It's hard because I can't say a lot, and there's there's
Sure.
5 more issues, and I don't want to breach any contracts. So as the
I'm
editor,
fine with it.
I'm being very strict and talking about sleep paralysis intentionally to keep the lawyers off me. But no, I mean, it's a what I think is like, if you're looking for an alien related, as a lot of your viewers, an alien related science fiction comic with heart, told from a different perspective. I mean, absolutely check it out. And like Mike is saying, like you don't even have to drive anywhere. Just click, download it, give the first issue a
Yeah.
try, and see if that hook worked.
Absolutely. It's great stuff. All right. Well, I'm going to get to Omar, but I really do want to have y'all back. I've enjoyed the conversation. And I can't wait to see where this goes. So, and I have a
Yeah.
feeling you've got all 3 of you have so many more things coming up too, that we're going to,
Yeah.
We wish we could talk more. Let's just say that.
Me too.
if you know Kirkman, can you see if you can get Kirkman on my show? Would you? All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
you've got my
Thanks for
email
having
address. Oh, it's lovely. You got my email address. Let's get back together towards the end of the series, because I'm hooked. So
Thank
Oh,
you.
Anytime.
Thank you for having us. It was nice meeting you guys.
all right.
Yeah, nice
You
meeting
too.
you,
all
and
as well.
we'll talk very soon.
Take
You
care.
That sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Bye.
All right.
Take care.
Bye bye.
All right, let's get them off screen there real quick.
They
Wow,
were
that's so
great.
great. That
Oh
was
my
that was
gosh.
amazing. You never know what you're going to get. Okay,
Mm.
everybody knows that we do 2 guests every night, and I backed it up here with another comic book another comic book. And like I told the viewers and listeners earlier, I don't always sell the things, but these 2 comics have meant a lot to me. And Omar is, let's just bring him back out front here. Omar, welcome.
Hi, Omar.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Nice to meet you, Amanda and Glenn. Nice to see your face.
too.
Finally, like I said, I've really have been hooked on both these stories because they're so great. And I think I asked you earlier in just a private chat, please tell me there's going to be more.
I have ideas for more. I'm actually putting pen to paper and fingers on keyboards these days to kind of create the structure of what the future could be. There's nothing guaranteed, but I think if people keep responding the way that they are, I'm gonna have a shot at it. And I cannot wait to tell more stories with these characters. The book is called Major Tomas, by the way. It's on Comixology Originals.
Yeah, I was going to say we got ahead of ourselves on this. Tell everybody about the story and how did we get this story? What was your...
Okay, so the story is called Major Tomas. Is about an astronaut who gets lost in space, right? And the way I've been kind of pitching it to people is it's La Bamba meets Lost in Space meets Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That kind of tells you everything you need to know about this Chicano Mexican-American kid, grows up on a farm. Instead of wanting to be a rock star like Richie Valens, he wants to be an astronaut. And he has to overcome a lot in his life, and he makes it. But at the point where he finally makes it and his dreams are coming true, he gets lost and he's marooned out on this strange planet, and he gets sucked into this intergalactic war between these reptoids and these AI robots. And so it's classic sci-fi storytelling. It starts off like slice of life, coming of age, and then it pivots to hero's journey. And that's where we get all the action and explosions. And it's like Forrest Gump once said, life is like a box of UAPs. You never know what you're going to get.
But he has Lisa.
Oh, yes. Lisa is my favorite character in the book. She is just a pistol, a firecracker, and the real heart and soul of the story. And one of the 2 comments I get the most is, number one, when can I get a print copy of this? And just like Taki just said, right now it's just digital, but there's a chance for print. The way that Amazon does it is they sub-license to, I think it's Dark Horse, Blaze, and there's a third one. Oh, Mad Cave. And they take the rights and print it for the direct market and local comic book shops. So God willing, all of these things will come true. Sequels, print copies, library editions, so
Nice.
yeah. Major
So
Tomas.
exciting.
It's Amanda, did you get a chance to read it?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. Not the whole thing. I've got to go finish it.
Yeah. Well, the second comment I get is, I need more Lisa. I need more from her. I want to see more of her. And yes,
can see
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. If I have my druthers, volume 1 is very much centered around Tomas and his journey, but I would like volume 2 to be more told from the perspective of Lisa. And then a potential third volume, we can maybe see it from the perspective of Al 3, the robotic monkey who everybody loves. He's this cute little, he's like the Jiminy Cricket of the story. He's the conscience. He's always by Tomas's side and really the heart and conscience of the story. So in terms of inspirations, man, it's lots of stuff, but like to boil it down, the rock songs that talk about Major Tom, the astronaut who's lost in space. David Bowie, of course, but the one that really I like is Peter Schilling's version, and there's a cover version of it by a band called Shiny Toy Guns, and I actually got to see them live like in 2009 or 2010, somewhere around there, and they did that song and just blew the roof off of the venue in San Francisco, and I was so inspired by the way they sang the song with so much emotion that night is when Major Tomas was born for me. I was like, I want to tell this story about this guy because I need to know who he is. Why does he want to be an astronaut? How does he get lost in space? Who's back on Earth? Like, why is he so desperate to get back to Earth? Like, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason why he's, so desperate to get back to Earth. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to create a story about this guy from my point of view, right? So I made the main character Mexican-American and just kind of delved into what it would be like, how hard it would be, And one of the other inspirations is the real-life astronaut, Jose M. Hernandez. There's a life story about him on Amazon Prime. It's called A Million Miles Away, and it's his real life story. Michael Pena plays the astronaut, Jose M. Hernandez, and he came here from Mexico as a farm worker, applied to NASA like 11 times, and finally got in and made it to space. And when he made it, they showed the video of him, like they were broadcasting live from inside the shuttle, and he started waving his Oakland Raiders flag. And I'm like, a huge Oakland Raiders fan. And I was like, this is my guy. Like this dude's my hero. And just a little side trivia. Jose is from the same hometown as my dad, which is so like, just what are the odds of this? La Piedad, Michoacan, Mexico is where my dad and Jose are from. And so when I was approaching him over the years about doing the forward for my book, I probably emailed him like 11 times before I finally got through. So just like him fighting to get into NASA, I was fighting to get him to do the forward for my book. And when it all came together, it was meant to be. It was written in the stars that I would partner with Jose on this. And here we are, guys. We're talking about it. So it all came true.
That's awesome.
It's great. Like I was telling her with her book, it does. This one draws you in. This one really got me with the art and with he was always talking to himself about he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But yet, I guess his Mary Jane, so to speak, Spider-Man, Mary Jane, she was pushing him, and now I hope she's going to be a badass. And he comes through and does it. And you also showed some things in there about depression, and to me, I felt that because it was like he's I can't do this, and of course the monkey kicked the door down, and that was pretty badass too. But,
No, the thing that I want young people to take away from this book is try to leave all your self-doubt and that inner voice that's telling you can't do it. Put it aside, because it's only gonna work against you. And there's a key moment where Tomas hesitates and it costs him very dearly. And this has happened to me in my own life. Like when you know you want something and you have a goal, don't take your eyes off the goal. Don't hesitate. Don't look back. Don't start doubting things, right? Just jump, just jump. and do it and go for it. And so that's really the things that I want people to take away from the story. So I'm glad that resonated with you, Glenn.
Yeah, it really did. And how did you, like I was asking her, how do you tell somebody what you see in your head? Does that make sense? How do you tell an artist, I want you to draw, I mean, you can tell them draw a square, you can tell them draw a circle, but you're drawing emotions, you're drawing action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you do that?
You have to give the artist some freedom and some room to play,
Okay.
So like, there's one Halloween scene where Lisa wears her own cosplay outfit that she has made herself, right? And so what I told the artist is, who did the concept art for that outfit, I said, give me something that's like a little bit Boba Fett, a little bit Master Chief from Halo, and some Samus Aran from Metroid, who I just adore, and kind of give me a mashup of what that would look like. So. And they nailed it, right? Like no notes from me. It was perfect, right? And then the color scheme is maize and blue because I'm a huge Michigan Wolverines fan. So that was my only input on the outfit. And same with the robot monkey. Like Joel, the Kotahar, was the concept artist for that. And I just said, draw me a robot monkey that looks a little bit retro with the little antenna on top, as if he's from the 1950s. But other than that, he did the whole thing soup to nuts. Again, no notes, perfect. Like he's so adorable and so cute. You just want to scoop him up and hug him. And in terms of the rest of the characters, I wanted them all to be very visually distinct, because one of the biggest gripes I have about comics is when characters start to blend together and you can't tell who's who and you get lost. It's like, wait, who's that guy, or what's that lady's name? And I thought that person was this person. Am I mixing that up? So I wanted very distinct, like Lisa, red hair, freckles, Tomas, dark hair, male. Even the robot gang that he allies with, they have unique dialects, each of them. They all have a unique look to them in the way that they dress themselves and kind of present themselves as a robotic pirate mercenary,
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, the gray alien Davis, very distinct, very unique, classic gray. And then we have the Reptoids, which they're kind of stoogey and cartoony, kind of funny, like the Guardians villains, how they're kind of easy to laugh at. They smoke cigars, they drink liquor, they're farting, they're burping, they're not very good at what they do. So I had a lot of fun, honestly, and giving the artists some room to just play around with what I had in mind, and very minimal notes for me. I really want the artist to have their stamp on the look and feel of things. Like there's one scene where there's like a tank that the Reptoids are driving, and I told the artist, like, make the tank look kind of organic, kind of like a crab, and nailed it, right? Perfect, just awesome. So but the script, I do have to, Glenn, say, like, close up facial shot, Lisa's very upset, she's crying, or Tomas is looking fearful, when he's meeting this gray alien for the first time. He looks kind of timid, and again, Al-3 has to save the day in that situation, and like goes and greets the alien first because Tomas is too scared. But the through line for Tomas is he's kind of timid, and he's a little afraid all the time and nervous, but he has to, in order to survive, put that aside, focus on the mission, and figure out how to get home. And toward the end, he fulfills the hero's journey. He really finds himself. He digs deep. A lot of that's cultural too, because his mom's voice is in his head. And so I'll stop there. I don't want to spoil it in case anybody, wants to be excited about the third act, which, I put a lot of thought into that third act. Some people are wish there was a different ending, and I can certainly understand that. However, I get that, but I also want people to go, I want more. Like Glenn, I need more. I can't stop here.
Cheyenne said the art was giving Greg Capula, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Spawn, which I love. Yeah, the art really was great.
Yeah, the artists, the first artist, Serge Acuna, he did like the first 35, 40 pages or so, and then we switched to Mal Mora they're both from Costa Rica. They're friends, and so it was a kind of a family affair. And just as an aside note too, the entire creative team was Latino or Latina people. We have Brazil with Fabi Marquez. We have Taylor Esposito, the letterer. He's of Argentine descent. Gab Contreras, she's from Peru. She did the graphic design and kind of put the whole thing together after it was done. The cover is by Renee Deliz. I think she's of Portuguese background. So I'm super proud of that. You know, like I really wanted a maximum authenticity, and I hope that shines through. So far, the feedback is yes, you really nailed it with the cultural background that Tomas and his farming community have, and how that resonates and kind of echoes when he faces socioeconomic oppression out in space. It's very similar to kind of what he faced as a kid, except it's way more over the top with aliens and ray guns and bombs and, you know, spaceships and whatnot. But yeah, I really hope that people kind of see that and make that connection.
Yeah, it came through, I think. And then how did you know about remote viewing?
I watch copious amounts of YouTube on a daily basis about UAP, NHI, right? These are the new words we have to use because no one likes UFO and alien anymore. We have to say UAP and NHI. But that to the point of the earlier conversation with Taki and the gang, consciousness and paranormal and religion and science, they're all like kind of converging at this point in time right now. And I feel like humanity's in the midst of a consciousness shift where we're starting to get more in touch with the things we can't see, the hidden dimensions, the frequencies, and like remote viewing. I watch a lot of videos on, and I actually started playing it with myself, and I actually got a couple of hits, which was wild, man. I was wild. I couldn't believe it. You know, I can get into that if you want, but so one of the things I'm researching a lot right now is this place called the Monroe Institute. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's out in the mountains in Virginia, and you go there for a retreat for like 5-6 days or whatever, and they teach you out of body experience, remote viewing, all kinds of other tips and tricks and fun things about how to attune your brain to certain frequencies and how that will start to unlock, you know, these abilities that all humans have. And I'm a firm believer in all of it. Like I am open-minded, so much so that it probably drives my family crazy, right? we live near Lawrence Livermore Lab, which is a hotbed of UAP activity because it's one of the few national labs that does nuclear experiments, weapons. They're doing all kinds of secret stuff in there. And by the way, that was Jose M. Hernandez's first job. Was he worked at Lawrence Livermore Lab, yet another connection. But yeah, I'm not as brave as Taki and the other group who said that they actually go out and skywatch and they want to, you know, experience it. Like I'm way too chicken. I love the subject and I research it a lot, but I can't, like, no, thank you.
If you keep remote viewing, yeah. And if you keep remote viewing, you will have an encounter. I'm up to on the audio. It's not the audio book, but the guidebook. I'm up to like, I think number 8 or 9. I can't make it past because I always get to a point. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you have the headphones on and they're talking you through the process.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't get, there's a spot that I think it's number 8. I get to it and then I go dead asleep. And I can't get past that.
Yeah, that's called clicking out. I think that's the terminology they use is when you fall asleep, you're clicking out.
Yep.
I haven't got that far yet. I've only listened to the first little portion of it. I'm trying to figure out if maybe it's all of it's free on Spotify, and if it is, great. But if not, I think the Monroe Institute sells it directly for like $80 for the entire each module. I guess they call them. I'm really curious to go there. Because I watch these videos of people that say, oh, I didn't think it was going to happen for me. But like towards the end, one of the last days, I felt this, what they call it, a peppermint feeling in their stomach, like a tingly, pepperminty feeling in their stomach. And then boom, they start to separate from their body. And like, if you freak out, like you click out. But like, if you can stay calm, you can maintain and you can start going around and looking at stuff. Some of the people say that when they first go into that realm outside their body. It's all black and white. But one of the people there was able to master it, where she would be very demanding and say, I need full visibility, and boom, everything would snap into color. That's how much command she has of her outer body experiences. And you know what, dude, this is going back for me, but like my dad back in the day was so into all this stuff. Like he bought the Communion when it first came out, and he had it on his nightstand. That was so freaky. And I remember he used to watch VHS tapes of Shirley MacLaine talking about her out of body experiences and how you can see a tether of yourself that connects from like your belly button to the earth as you're out in space. And he was all up into that. And so I just kind of naturally gravitated toward it. And, you know, some of that, a little bit of that is in my book, Major Tomas. You know, one of Lisa's kind of hooks and what makes her interesting is she starts to play with her consciousness and her ability to astral project and remote view and stuff. And I made it so that she discovers these abilities she has in real places that exist on Earth in the Mojave Desert. One of them is called Giant Rock, which is along Earth's ley lines. And then the other one's the Integratron, which is also nearby in the Mojave Desert. And that has a really interesting backstory. This guy claims that an alien told him to build this building that's like a dome to harness the power of the human mind. And he was almost done. And then like he died really mysteriously, and he never completed it. So people actually don't know like how to operate it and get it going. But I just kind of made it in the book so that they could operate it, and that helps Lisa, you know, do what she needs to do. So, yeah, man, dude, I'm this is like one of my favorite podcasts ever, because you guys are speaking my language. Like, I'm not saying anything you guys don't understand or don't know about.
No, the show's not about me, but I know my chat's heard and Amanda's heard. A good friend of mine worked for a 3-letter agency that was at the forefront of that did some of the Operation Jedi and some of the other things. He was the one, and he's also a paramedic, brought me in and said, here, come here. I want you to. And so I was actually taught by someone from Fort Meade.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Yeah. And when you have that first moment, it is crazy. It is absolutely insane. So yeah. So I remember so much so it scared me.
Yeah, I bet. Like I had sleep paralysis one time when I was like 19 or so. I was still living at my parents' house and like commuting to a local university, and it freaked me out so bad. It felt like hours, but really it was probably like minutes, right? And I was so freaked out. I went and crawled in my parents' bed after I finally got control of my body. And I was scared to death. I think the previous guy said the same thing. Like he was calling out for his mom, like when it happened to him. And I never spoke to anybody about it. Like my parents never asked me, like, what the heck were you doing? Like you're an adult. Like why are you crawling into our bed with us? Get the hell out of here, you know? But it was that scary. It was that scary. Like I could see, but I couldn't move. I was frozen. Golly, it was scary. It's scary.
Yeah. Amanda, have you ever had sleep paralysis?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's scary. It's very scary. I had it camping when we were out looking for things. And I was in a tent cot is basically what it sounds like. It's a cot with a tent over it. And my buddy, same guy, 3-letter agency, was in his tent cot just like 20 feet away. And I had the most intense sleep paralysis, so much so he come out of his tent cot rolling with his 9mm towards my tent, thinking that there was something getting me.
You're being attacked.
Yeah, because he said you were making noises that were it scared me. And I thought, good God, I just scared a CIA agent. That's pretty scary. So, but
I want to say those experiments first started like in the 70s here in Menlo Park, California, like where the Stanford campus is. That's where they really first started playing with this stuff. And like Ingo Swann and like Joe McMoneagle were like the first couple of guys that could do this. Yep. And like I read Ingo Swann's book about his experiences remote viewing on the moon, and how one of the entities there saw him and looked right at him, was like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here, you know? Oh. And he was out of his body. It's like he wasn't physically there, but like the guy saw the NHI saw him and like, you know, what are you doing here? And that like, you know, wow, that's crazy stuff, but so fascinating. I can't get enough of this stuff. Like I watch hours of YouTube on this like every single week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I've talked to some people that were in, we'll just call it like a boot camp, and they were saying they were tasked for the government breaks everything down. Like there's a mechanic that fixes the Jeep. There's a guy that puts the hood on. They don't know each other. They don't know they're building the Jeep. They just know they got to put a tire on a rim. He knows he's got to put a hood on. As they're that compartmentalized.
Yeah.
And he would tell us in boot camp, so to speak, that that's the way it was. And he said afterwards we'd all go hang out in the barracks and we'd be like, well, we wanted to see what's up there.
Yeah.
You know, on their own. So yeah, because it's so compartmentalized. That's great. I could do a remote viewing is. Yeah, I got to get you on Jessica Jones' show if you're into remote viewing, because she is like the queen of remote viewing. So
awesome.
She's a good friend of mine. Yeah, she's a real good friend of mine. Yeah, I'll pimp her podcast. But yeah, and she's very good at it. She has an entire podcast. I hate telling people this, but she's my friend. So where she remote views stuff and does the show about it. So yeah, she's awesome. I love her to death. So, yeah, that's great. And so now, did you work on other projects aside from this, or what else have you? I mean, that sounds kind of silly. What else have you done? But
yeah, no, it's a fair question. I'm still fairly new to the comics game in terms of getting projects that are widely distributed. In independent comics, you're going to have to pay your dues for some years, which I've been doing leading up to this moment, getting the contract with Comixology Originals. And by the way, the book's only $6.99. Like I tell everybody, if I was selling this to you off the back of my truck, for like a physical copy, I'd be charging $25 easily, maybe 30.
Easily.
I don't know. So it's a steal. It's $7. But to answer your question, I started off about 10 years ago. I did my first Kickstarter in 2015. I did a book called Crusader about this like holy hitman for the Pope. Like, so imagine if the Pope had his own personal Batman in the shadows that no one knows about and does all the dirty work and all the wet work on behalf of the Pope that is secret because nobody can know about it, right? Like if there's rumors of vampires in the hills of Transylvania, he sends this guy to go look into it, and that book had some paranormal in it too. It had like exorcism, it had vampires, it had aliens, it had shape-shifting aliens that impersonated humans, and that they become like the main enemies in that book. It has Greys in it. Yes, it has Greys in it. Of course, got to have the Greys representing
That's
Zeta
awesome.
Reticuli. Yeah, so that was a really fun book. But like, that was my first graphic novel I ever made, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I made some mistakes along the way, as to be expected. But I got it out there, hardcover, Kickstarter. So that kind of got me going. And as a way of publicizing myself and announcing to the comics community, like, hey, I'm a new guy here. I went and broke the Guinness World Record for largest comic book in the world. I took the first chapter of that book about the Holy Hitman and I expanded it to like a 2 foot by 3 foot poster size comic. And it had a stapled spine and I had a giant bagging board for it and mailed it into Guinness, got the record and held it for 2 or 3 years before like a Brazilian publisher broke the record. And then after them, somebody else broke the record again. So I don't have the title anymore, but I had it for a good few years. And that was
you were first.
I was, well, actually, no, I was maybe second because I had to break the record of somebody else, which was established. But anyway, after that, I did a little 1940s homage called Lunar Ladies. It's like very much ray guns and laser rays, very much told in the golden age style of comics, very rated PG, just kind of a silly space romp about these race of alien women who live underneath the surface of the moon, the hollow moon theory. And they've been living there for like 1 million years and they're super sophisticated. And they start to have a fight within themselves, and there's like a good side and a bad side. So the good side flees to Earth, which at the time is prehistoric. So imagine these ladies fighting with ray guns and stuff, but in the background there's like dinosaurs and giant sloths and woolly mammoths and stuff like that. And they're having this battle on planet Earth, and that one really ties into my love of the ancient alien theory. That is that this planet has been visited for millions of years. and there's evidence of it with cave paintings and like, artifacts that are found. So that was a really fun book. And then, in between these big projects, which take me like 5 years, I do like anthology work, crowdfunding. I actually do fan fictions, which I love. I publish my own little fan fictions and I give them away for free. So I did one for The Mandalorian's first hunt. Like he's a rookie bounty hunter and he's going out for the first time. So I wrote a little story about that. And that's free on my website, theforcemedia.com. And then I've also done a couple of Metroid fan fiction comic books about Samus Aran, the famous bounty hunter, and what she's all about. And so that kind of leads me up to Major Tomas. That gets us up to current in terms of my history in comics. So it takes some time, but I'm glad that I'm partnered with Comixology. It's such a great platform to be on. It's global, right? So overnight, I've got a global audience. It's at a very attractive price. And the other thing I like too is I'm immune to all this business with Diamond Comics distributors right now, which is just in flux and like no one knows what's going on. Are they going to go bankrupt? Are they going to get bailed out? Like, are they still going to even carry comics? Supposedly the rumor is the company that bought them wants them for the toys and the collectibles and the merch and all that stuff, not so much the comics, that's the lifeline to all the local shops, in North America. But with digital, there's none of that. Like, the book's available now. And like Taki said, on any screen, download the Kindle Reader app if you need to, and away we go. And I've been getting a lot of traction actually down in Mexico with this book, as you can imagine, with the hero being a Mexican-American background. So, it's been a fun ride, guys. And I really hope that people continue to gravitate toward the book so that I can make more stories about these characters, which I love so much. And then I've got some other ideas that I'm cooking in the background. I'm always tinkering with something, like Tomas was in my head actually for a good 10 years before I started writing the script. COVID hit and then boom, I had time. I was like, I'm trapped indoors for a couple of years. Let's get serious about this. Yeah.
That's amazing. I hope you do write one about Lisa.
Yeah. Well, all the characters will be in it, but she'll be kind of more of like in the lead,
Yeah. That'll be great.
Yeah.
I love it. Naturally, I can relate with Lisa. Redhead.
Yes. She was a ton of fun to write, man. And she's really resonating with readers, and I'm glad. I'm glad she's getting her shine.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you decide to make her do some wrestling, Amanda's the pro wrestler with us, so she can give you tips on what to do. So
awesome. Yeah, I could see her dropping an elbow off the top ropes. She's a tough cookie.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
In fact, she gets in a bit of a tussle in that Halloween scene I was describing. And boy, does she hold her own?
Yep. Whack. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
And well, and he was timid and she told him to run so he didn't lose his stuff. So
yeah, right. That was a very key moment.
And you know what? Ironically enough, when Amanda and I are together, that's the same thing I would do. I'd start the bar fight and I'd be like, Amanda, I'm out.
Yeah. And then she comes in with the
damn it, Glenn.
Boom.
Yeah.
She would. Of course,
There
I've met her
goes the
husband
table.
too.
Yeah. Abe.
Yeah.
They just had a WrestleMania, didn't they? Like over the weekend or recently? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's the women's champion right now.
I'm still tired.
Oh.
Honestly, I haven't watched wrestling in years. And
I know Ric Flair's daughter
watched
for a
it.
while was like the head honcho on the women's side, but I'm not even sure anymore. I still love old wrestling, man. Sometimes, like with my Peacock subscription, they have all this old WWF content from the 80s, and I'll just flip that on and just relive the glory days.
Yeah. I wrestled with like the legends of wrestling and the older guys. Like kids would say, "Oh, do you know Randy Orton?" I'm like, no, but I know his dad.
Cowboy Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it's funny.
So what was the biggest venue you ever wrestled at?
I wrestled for the Air Force in Alaska, so that was in front of a lot of people. We
Awesome.
wrestled on the Air Force bases in front of all the people. So, other than that, it was probably a show I did with Jerry Lawler
Oh,
in Ohio. We were in
yeah.
a huge, like college arena.
Back in those days, it was like pretty regional, huh? Because I remember when I was growing up, there was these kids that like were in our neighborhood one summer. They were visiting from like Louisiana, and they would talk about all these wrestlers we never heard of. They're like, "Yeah, Jerry the King Lawler's the
Oh,
man." We're like,
yeah.
"Who the heck is that?" You know? And then he
Yeah,
finally came to the WWF, and
they
yeah.
used to have the territories.
hmm
Yeah. So back when they had the territories, it was very split up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
But
growing up,
that was
Smoky
before
Mountain.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That was when they actually made money doing it.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, I was a fan of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling, so that's how I
Mhm.
got into it. And then growing up, the WWE, or was it WWE? What was it originally?
WWF.
WWF.
Yeah.
WWF, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then of course with MTV coming in, that just kind of sold it all together, you know.
Oh yeah, they got Cyndi Lauper involved, and yeah, it
Yeah.
became a
I'm
pop
showing
culture
my age.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to be Cyndi Lauper. She was my idol.
Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano. They were like
Yes.
a unit.
Yeah. They did the Goonies video together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh yeah. Fond memories of that. Yeah, of the Hulk, and my favorite was Roddy Piper. He would
Oh,
get so
yeah.
mad.
yeah.
Oh, he gets so mad. And I don't know if it's true or not, but they said he was a really nice guy, but he would just get so worked up. And I'm like, that's my guy right there. So
Yeah, he was the greatest talker in the history of wrestling. I know Ric Flair, gets a lot of love on Instagram, but even Ric Flair has said Roddy Piper is the greatest talker in the history of wrestling, and I tend to agree. That guy was amazing.
Yep. Yeah, the good time, fond memories. Yeah, growing up, and that was back when you had to walk up and turn a knob on the TV. So
Right.
Yeah.
I was bad. So one night I went out, and it was this small town in Kentucky. I went out and taught everyone how to brush the last tooth they had left in their head.
oh my god.
Wow.
You were a shit talker.
Yeah. They would wait for me to come out and throw water at me. And I had this woman grab me by my hair and yank me over the rail.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got under their skin. Good job.
Oh yeah. Just a little bit. And they'd be like, "Don't you smack him." And I go, and then turn around and just look at them like I'm gonna do it. And then wow.
Whack. Awesome.
So they loved it one night when their hero ducked, and then I got punched in the face and went flying out of the ring.
Oh yeah, classic wrestling maneuver. Oh man.
Yeah, good times. That dude's fist was as big as my entire head.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Abyss. He was on TNA. You remember Abyss? He wore the
Mm-mm.
mask like Mankind.
I
He was
think I do,
huge.
yeah.
He went by Prince Justice before he went to TNA, and then he was Abyss.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's
I'm not
huge.
familiar with that guy, but I do remember meeting that gigantic Indian guy before he got famous. So I did this like little documentary about this wrestling school in Hayward, California, which by the way, The Rock's dad like used to train there, Rocky
Yeah.
Maivia, and
Mhm.
they still keep up the wrestling school, and they had this guy there, Dilip Singh, gigantic dude. And this was when he was just first came to the US and was learning how to wrestle. And then next thing you know, he's like WWE champion. I was like, whoa, I remember that guy. Man, he was massive, huge. Like, I want to say like 7 foot tall or something. Dude, that guy was massive.
Yeah.
Anyway,
My husband would probably know. He knows how tall like everybody is.
yeah.
You can name somebody and be like, he'll tell you how tall he is. It's insane.
Yeah. That was the big deal back in the day. Like Andre the Giant, 7'3", 550
Yeah.
pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
And then Kane
Mhm.
and the Undertaker, and so
Mhm. Yeah. The Undertaker has to duck to get in anywhere.
Really? He's taller than a
Yeah.
standard door frame. I believe it.
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
He was in our Kroger one day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just saw him walking through the frozen food section.
Yeah. In full costume, right?
That would be great.
Hilarious. Like he walked through the door of Kroger and his music hits.
Yeah, right.
Lights dim.
He goes outside and he crawls in his
Lame.
coffin. Yeah.
Right? Jeez.
I love it. And now I'm having Kane, the big red retard. Oh, you can't say that anymore. But that's what I think Roddy Piper called it. I think it was. Anyhow, that stuck. He's the mayor of the county I'm in right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. And the man is huge.
Wow.
So, yeah, he grew up and became responsible Republican. So it's the craziest thing.
Okay, so getting back to the comic, I'll tie this into wrestling, and you guys will appreciate this. So in that same Halloween scene where Lisa takes care of business, there's a bunch of kids dressed up in their costumes, and one of them is dressed up in a gorilla costume. And he makes this comment. He says, "Wait a minute, gorillas." And this is a thing with me and my brother and my cousins. We say this all the time because back in the day, when Jesse Ventura would call matches with Gorilla Monsoon, Gorilla was always defending the good guys and Jesse was always defending the bad guys. And when Gorilla would say something that Jesse didn't like, he would interrupt him and say, "Wait a minute, Gorilla. Wait just a minute, Gorilla." And so I actually put that in the Major Tomas comic book, which no one's going to get except for my brother and like my cousins. But you know,
Right.
now that I'm
Now we
revealing it
know.
here, yes, that's a callback to Governor Jesse the Body Ventura announcing matches with Gorilla Monsoon. So
I
a little bit of
love
wrestling
it.
made it into my book. So keep an eye out for
Yes.
that.
That's
That is
awesome.
great.
I'll do
Well,
that.
Well, I noticed the Raiders. It wasn't really their logo, but I noticed that it was his lunchbox or something. So.
Yeah, so every astronaut gets a personal keepsake box that they get to take with them up to space for their mementos and whatever. And so he decorated his with a logo that looks a lot like the Raiders logo, a logo that looks a lot like the University of Michigan Block M, the logo for Vans shoes. What else did he have on there? I think he had a Captain America shield, which was unfinished. Like Lisa was painting it, but she didn't quite finish putting the star in the middle. I think that's it. But yeah, I put a bunch of my little favorite things into the story and sprinkled it throughout. There's one Easter egg that not a lot of people have caught because it's deep in the background. So there's a scene where the great alien Davis first comes on the scene and he's in a spaceship and he's piloting his ship, and in the background he has monitors, and on one of the monitors is Alf, the brown furry alien from the 1980s.
Oh my God, that's
So,
great!
so Alf makes a cameo in the background on a monitor. So keep your eyes peeled for
That's
that one
great.
too.
I
And
have that DVD collection over here on my shelf.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
the great Gordon Shumway from the planet Melmac. Yes, he
Yeah.
made it into the book.
That's awesome. I love it. I noticed your Star Wars things behind you
Oh yeah. Mhm.
and your retro TV with your Super Nintendo.
Oh, that's original NES.
Yeah. Oh,
NES
okay. And
with the
Nintendo.
little gun for duck hunting.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I got my
Yeah.
cap stuff. I got tons of cap shields in here. You can't really see them all. You can just see the one little one. But yeah. This is my Fortress of Solitude.
I love it. I love Star Wars. I raised my son on Star Wars, and now he's a huge fan. He's 18, and he's like, when I buy my house, and I'm gonna have all the helmets and all the outfits and the lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
And his girlfriend is like,
really? Yeah, I've got it all here in just this one room, and that's the only place I'm allowed to display all my stuff. But yeah, I've got some.
Yeah, she's like, so we're
up
not
here.
gonna live in the same house apparently.
Oh, that's funny.
Have you seen the pool that looks like the Millennium Falcon?
A swimming pool?
Yes. You
I
like
have
can
not.
like go up and jump off of the Millennium Falcon into the pool.
Oh, so it's like a platform to
Yeah.
nice. No, I
Yeah.
haven't seen it. I saw like an advertisement for like an Airbnb or a
Yes.
VRBO of like this place that's all tricked out with Star Wars, and it just looks amazing. Like they even
Yes.
have some arcade cabinets in there of the like the old games, Star Wars games, and I'm like, man, where is that? Like, I need to go there.
Right. And you can stay like out in the desert where they filmed some of the things, and they have like Airbnbs out there too.
Oh yeah, I understand in Tunisia you can still visit the Lars homestead, which is like that pit that's the house that's where Luke grew up, that's in the ground, and I think Ray
Yeah.
goes there at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's like a real place and you can visit. Yeah,
It's
I'd
so
love to go
cool.
there too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I've actually been to Lucasfilm because it's not too far from my house. They're in the Presidio in San Francisco, and I got to go inside and take some pictures, and it was amazing. Like they have a
Oh,
Yoda
that's so
statue out
cool.
in front, like a bronze Yoda statue with a fountain, and then you go inside and they have these like like life-size Boba Fett costume. It's like a mannequin, and they've got
That's
just the most
cool.
amazing stuff in there. Yeah, it's a really really cool place. I've never been to Skywalker Ranch, but they have a section of it they call Rancho Obi-Wan, which is run by Steve Sansweet. He's like the fan relations guy, and he just collects everything that's ever manufactured of Star Wars, and he keeps it in this like museum. And you can go and pay a fee and like go through there and look at like every Pez dispenser that's ever been made with a Star Wars helmet on it. All kinds of
I
stuff,
think we have most of those.
rare collectibles going back to like the late 70s. The
Oh
guy
my
just
gosh.
collects everything and puts it in there. It's on my to-do list to visit that place too.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's awesome.
All right. Did C-3PO have two different colored legs?
This is like one of the Mandela effect things because I don't
Yes,
remember
yes.
him having a silver leg.
I
Ever.
do
I
not
don't
either.
either.
But then, sure enough, he does, and then you go back and watch, and it's like, wait, when did that happen? And you know what I think it is? Back in the day, the images were so muddy; they're not crystal clear like they are today, right? Like film was very
Yeah.
messy and dirty and had
Yeah.
film damage, and then a VHS is not a great translation. I remember when DVD first came out, my brother and I marveled at Dagobah because it seemed so colorful in digital, restored and remastered or whatever. It's like, whoa, Dagobah looked like just giant gray pit back in the day on VHS or like watching on a TV broadcast. But then you see it in digital and it's like super colorful. You see all these snakes and lizards and like it seems like it was just night and day. Yeah, I think that's what it is. You couldn't really tell his leg was silver because it was so muddy, the image.
Yeah. I still say no.
I'm
No.
colorblind, so I just pictured him totally being gold.
Yeah.
I wish I could find my original character because I was like, I know it was gold.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I think the toys he was all gold.
Yeah.
But
I think so.
yeah, and then they made it red, right, for the new trilogy, or was it his arm? They painted something red on C-3PO. It was either his arm or his leg. I can't remember which, but like, yeah, they changed them up a little bit so they could sell more toys, right? Like this is the new version of C-3PO,
Right?
2.0. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, but yeah, I as soon as you were talking about it, I was like, oh, I gotta ask him.
Yeah, no, like, and the Berenstain Bears or Berenstein Bears, like, yeah, that all that stuff's a trip, man.
Yeah. Yes. I watched a whole YouTube on, well, just not one. It was like a bunch of them about it. And I was like, no, that is not the way it was.
Yeah. Like the Monopoly guy, like everyone imagines him to have a monocle, but he doesn't, What's another one? There's some good ones out there. Or like Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. It's actually Magic Mirror on the Wall, I think is what she says.
I think so, yeah.
Anyway.
Huh.
Oh yeah, there's tons and there's some new ones too. So
do you guys watch Black Mirror?
I used to. I watched like the first season.
So in the new season, the second episode is really amazing, where this lady starts going crazy. Like with this Mandela effect thing where it's like, wait, what? Like, no, that can't be right. And then it starts impacting her day-to-day life. And like, it's really interesting how they do it. And at first you think it's the Mandela effect that's happening to her, but then you find out it's not. It's actually a manipulation, and it's so good. It's so well done. So even if you don't invest in the whole series, go watch episode 2 of the latest series. I think it just released like last week or something. The first episode is really it's dark. It's dark.
Yeah.
But
it
it's
got
good.
really
like
weird, and I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore.
Yeah, it's so well done though. Like if it bothers you that much, they did a good job.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So, and I'll let you get another plug here in the chat. Salty Dog is one of our regulars. He says he came in late. What is Omar's gig?
Oh.
We just met you yesterday. So
late.
We just met him yesterday.
Comic book creator, and I got a book out now on Comixology Originals, which you can buy on Amazon. It's called Major Tomas, and that's my gig, man. I write stories about an astronaut who's lost in space and all the manner of adventures that he has, and two, for any like parents out there, the book's clean, right? There's no swear words in it. There's no sexual situations. It's just got what Nintendo calls cartoon violence. So it's like PG-13, science fiction. And, and this is another important thing too, for anybody out there who actually buys it and reads it, leave me a rating. That's really important. Like the Comixology people really take a close look at that stuff, and it helps.
Okay.
It's only $6.99, and you can find it on Amazon.
That's right.
Oh man, I don't know if your sales got a bump or not from my 2 listeners, but I have been pimping you on my Thin Line Rock Station radio station.
Oh, thank you.
The Radio X in Australia. I've been pimping you. I was like, listen, I tell everybody, and it's true, I get excited about a lot of guests, but I don't usually go, promoting their stuff that way. You and Sumi earlier, Taki, yeah, earlier. Oh my God, it was so great. I love it. And I don't like I said, I don't know if it's just because I love the alien stories or if it's just hers is definitely the drawing pulls you in. And of course you heard the CPR thing, me being a paramedic, but these 2 stories, I think in some world that these 2 stories could almost come together. I don't know if you've read her stuff, but
I haven't yet. It's on my to-do list. One of the little dirty secrets of making comics is it leaves you very little time for actually reading comics.
I'm sure.
But no, she has a very striking image of the gray on the front cover, and I do want to read it. In fact, I wanted to read it before coming on tonight, but I just got so bogged down with so many things, and I got to order my Nintendo Switch 2 tonight in 54 minutes because it's dropping at midnight Eastern / 9 p.m. Pacific, where pre-orders are going to open, and the internet is going to break tonight. Let me just tell you, It is going to crash and burn, but I've got a couple tricks up my sleeves. Gosh, I can't wait for the Switch 2 because they're putting out a new Metroid first-person shooter, Metroid Prime 4. I think the subtitle is called Beyond, and God, I love that series. It's such an oddball franchise. It's like a weird science fiction with a female bounty hunter hero, and it's just the oddest little franchise, but I just love it to death. And so if there's any Metroid fans out there, go on my website, theforcemedia.com, and I've got 2 free Metroid comics, full color, full production. These aren't like little, black and white or like 5 pages. I think they're like 15 pages, so you can sink your teeth into them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, The Mandalorian was great.
So. Oh, thank you. I took a lot of pride in that one. What I wanted to do with that one is tell a story about him and his first bounty, but also tie in episodes 1 through 9 in some way, somehow, and tie it to that story. And I think I succeeded in that. I was able to pull from the prequels, the original trilogy, and the sequels, and create this like narrative arc that kind of really combines everything, but wrapped around Mando as a first-time bounty hunter. So yeah, cool. If anyone out there looks at my stuff, I welcome any and all feedback. My handle is right there, Omorales81. I use that for every platform on planet Earth, even video game platforms. So I'm not hard to find.
Do you think Disney ruined Star Wars?
This is a complicated question, man, because I love Star Wars and I can't get enough. Anything they put out, I watch it. right? And I always want more, right? Like last night, I consumed the Andor, the first 3 episodes of the new season, and I'm like ready for the next 3. You know, I watch everything. Like I don't skip anything. Same with Marvel. I watch everything. I don't skip anything. Now there are some that I'm like, okay, that was okay. I probably won't go back and watch that one. You know, like She-Hulk. Like I'm probably not going to rewatch that one, right? Not like Endgame, which I can rewatch, you know, like every single week. But I don't know. That's a hard question because in some ways they rescued Star Wars because it was dead, right? Like George wasn't doing anything more at all with it after the Clone Wars. And Disney comes in and it's back to life. We have 9 new movies. Now we have TV shows. We've got comics expansion. We've got video game expansion. Like, so it's been uneven, right? Some of it's been really good. Like Rogue One was really, really good. Really good. I will say though, my one gripe with Disney is that the toys have been watered down. The quality isn't there as much as it used to be. Even in like the early 2000s, right? You get really high quality Star Wars toys that you treated more like a collectible, like a museum piece, like, you know, all my stuff back here. And Disney kind of started doing this like production line element where they were just putting out cheap stuff, you know, and it just didn't quite seem as good. And that was reflected too in the parks. Like my family and I would go to Disney quite a bit. And over time you could tell like the quality was kind of going down, but they seem to be turning a corner. And now they seem to be realizing that they need the hardcore collectors as much as you're just your average family from Ohio that just grab me any old C-3PO or R2. I don't care. I just want something, you know, as a keepsake. Yeah, I don't know how to answer your question, Glenn. It's like I get why people say that Disney ruined it, but at the same time, for me, who's someone who's just always looking for more Star Wars content, I have no complaints, man. Like I really enjoy all the content they put out. Like, and again, you don't have to rewatch it. Like I see these people that like complain about a show a year before it's even released, and they're trying to destroy it. They're trying to destroy it. It's like, whoa, dude, hold on a minute. Let the show come out first, make up your own mind about it, and then just shut up about it, right? If you don't like it, you don't have to be trying to drag millions of people down with you to hate it. Like, watch it once and put it away.
I think people set unexpected expectations for the new movies, and you can't do that. You have to go in to a movie and just watch it for what it is.
Yes. I remember when The Phantom Menace came out, and I told myself, okay, this is not going to be what you're expecting. This is whole new people you don't know, new planets. Like, just wipe your mind clean and just enjoy it for what it is, right? And I loved Darth Maul and all the action stuff that it was in The Phantom Menace. Yeah, the politics stuff was dragging on, but like, oh well, who cares?
Yeah.
You know? I agree with you, Amanda. You just kind of have to wipe the slate clean and just take it for what it is.
Yeah, enjoy it. Just
right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm more of I enjoy Star Wars, but I'm more of a Marvel fan. So, yeah, and I agree with what you said. They kind of took it and went everywhere with it, but at the same time, and like you said, She-Hulk and some of the others are like, yeah, I don't know, but some of the other ones you're like, yeah, I'm in on this one. I'm all in. So, Scarlet Witch and okay. So I'm still a nerd.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Well, that's why I got this show. Well, and one of the other reasons I got this show is I like to have people come in, athletes, entertainers, authors, artists, and the hook question I always ask them: have you had any paranormal experiences?
I've had what I would call a paranormal adjacent life. Like I haven't really had anything happen to me except for maybe the sleep paralysis that I could say it was a true paranormal experience. But when I say adjacent, it's happened to people all around me. Like my mom had a near-death experience with a baby that was supposed to be born between me and my younger brother, but she had a late-stage miscarriage and she died. And she went through the tunnel and saw the light on the other side and was ready. Like, oh, she said it felt glorious. She felt so free for the first time ever in her life, like nothing ever she's ever felt. But then some godly voice told her like, well, maybe you're not ready yet. And she's like, what do you mean? And she turned around and she said she saw me, little me. And the voice said, like, you've got to go back to be the boy's mother and to be your husband's wife. And there's going to be more babies that come. And then sure enough, you know, my younger brother came a couple years later. So again, it didn't happen to me, but it happened to her, but I was somehow part of her NDE, right? I was there in a vision, you know? And another thing kind of like this is my grandma, when she was late in her life and almost getting ready to pass on, we took her in to my parents' house, and she started telling us that these like little gray beings were visiting her at night. And we're like, what, grandma? Like, abuelita, what are you saying? She's like, yeah, there's a bright light that comes in the middle of the night. It's so bright, like nothing I've ever seen before. And they appear. And she was super, super religious. And she said that I challenged them. I told them, you stay right there. I want to know if you're from the devil or if you're from God. And she said that the Grays assured her that they're from God and that they had good intentions, that they were there to watch over her and to love her and care for her and help her eventually, you know, cross to the other side. And this is all happening in the house that I grew up in. And so I think she said that she looked out the window and that's where she would see them. And it was like a telepathic communication. And she said that after a while, when she knew their intentions, she would call them mis angelitos, my little angels that would come to visit her. And I just imagine her talking to these Grays in the front yard as she's looking at them through the window. And then years later, as an adult, I had a dream that there was a Gray in my parents' front yard, and it freaked me out so bad. And I ran over to it and I kicked it with all I had. And as soon as I made contact with it, I woke up. and part of me thinks, was that an extra dimensional dream? Like, did that actually happen or not?
Yeah.
Or was it just a dream? So, you know, I can't claim to have anything like legit paranormal happen to me, but it's been around me. It's been around me my whole life, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
It'll happen eventually. So it'll happen.
Yeah, it'll happen when I go to the Monroe Institute and learn all the stuff.
Yes. You're gonna have to come back and tell me about that. Yeah, me and you're gonna become friends talking about this.
Oh
so.
yeah, if I go there,
we had someone else on the show that had gone, and she loved it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Who was it? I remember, but
I can't remember, but I remember her talking about it, and she absolutely loved it.
If there's people out there that are interested in this, there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Chris Ramsey. He runs a show called Area 52. That's his channel name,
Mm-hmm.
Area 52. He has a whole like series of like 4 or 5 videos because he went and they let him document it. And so he went and you could see everything in the mountains and the retreat, and like he gives updates in between his experiences and his classes. And then he brings other people on his show that went through it, and they talk about how they were able to leave their body, or they were able to remote view, or they were given a target and they hit the target. You know, it's so fascinating, man. Like, I want to go learn all that stuff.
It's cool. Yeah, I think I do remember. She was on twice, and she's been on recently. And I can't remember. She is a psychic as well. So she's an instructor for them, I believe now.
Oh, at the Monroe Institute?
Yeah, like an adjunct instructor. She doesn't like go there all the time and teach, but she has been there. God, I can see her face, but I can't think of her name.
Does she have really short hair?
Mm-hmm, it was red hair, I believe, and I think she lives out towards the Midwest. I'd have to go back and look. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah, great. I'll gobble that up.
Yeah, because we actually we had her come back because we ran out of time with her, and I still had hundreds of questions, and I was like, you got to come back. And so so she's, in fact, I think she's going to come on again. So I'll hook you up, and she's on Facebook, one of my friends, and I'll ask her crazy questions, and she's like, you're not that crazy. I'm like,
all right, ask her if she has a coupon code for the tuition at Monroe Institute. Okay.
Right?
I wish.
Yeah,
I wish.
I looked it up right after she was on and was like, well, that's out.
Yeah. And it's really far out there too. Like, I'm from the West Coast, so it would be a haul to get there.
Yeah.
It's in the boonies. Yeah, you're out by Area 51, aren't you?
No, I'm near Oakland. So Lawrence Livermore Lab is here in the East Bay. Area 51 is what, Southern Nevada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was thinking you're out by Area 51 for some reason. Okay, cool. Well,
Probably
everybody
because of
needs
the
to go get
Raiders
your-
connection, Las
Well,
Vegas.
yeah. Well, it could be. Yeah. Yeah, I got that one in there. I like in your book. You also at the end of it, you had questions to ask.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to talk about this. So yeah, there's a teacher's educator's guide for like librarians and teachers or even parents to say, okay, what did we learn, students, from reading this story? And it gives them questions and prompts. And like one of them is musical influences were, David Bowie and Peter Schilling. If you were to make a playlist for this comic, what would your playlist be? And so, select some songs that you like and tell us why and what scenes, you would kind of correlate to that song in your head. For me, when people ask me if there was a soundtrack to this, it is straight up Oakland Coliseum heavy metal rock, right? Like when he's fighting and stuff, it's like AC/DC, Shoot the Thrill, Back in Black, all that stuff, man. That's like, Raider music is what's in my head when I go through this story.
That's great.
Yep. There you go. All right. Well, will you come back on too? I mean,
Absolutely. If I go to Monroe Institute, I'll let you know, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Or if I do more stories, yes, absolutely.
All right, well, you didn't even have to have more stories. You just come on. And Atlanta's a connecting flight, so maybe we could meet. So,
Yeah,
where
are you? You're in Tennessee.
Well, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee right now because I had to go help some family members out, but I live in Atlanta. That's where my normal studio is. I'm in my mom's attic right now. So
I have a good friend who lives in Atlanta, but he's in the process of actually moving to Mexico.
He's smart. Get out. I hate Atlanta.
He's got this giant, beautiful house down there in Mexico, and it's like costs almost nothing compared to what housing prices are here. So yeah, he's pretty smart. Hey, and Amanda, where are you at?
I'm in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Come on, you couldn't tell by that accent.
Because sometimes they say that like northern Kentucky is like southern Ohio, and you can't really tell the difference. I don't.
Right.
I'm not.
Yeah.
From the world.
My husband is from Eastern Kentucky, and he's, they say you go out yonder and you take a ride at the lot.
Yeah.
I'm from Western Kentucky. My family is, so we say you take a right at the light.
Omar had this really confused look, like, "What the hell?"
A ride at the lot.
No, yeah.
Take a ride.
Well, no, I meant with your husband.
Oh, my husband. Yeah, he's a death metal singer, and he looks scary. He's big, covered in tattoos, bald, and everybody's like, "Whoa!" But then he speaks, and his voice is softer than mine.
And he's got that twang.
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna go let out a little water. Instead of I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go let out a little water. Yeah, we gonna go to the McDonald's.
McDonald's.
We gonna go to the Walmart.
Got it. That's a great impression. I can hear him already.
Hey, well, she is very talented. She's learning to play an electric banjo, which I can't wait to hear.
Wow. I didn't even know such a thing existed.
I did not either.
Death metal band. Yeah, and I will be playing banjo.
Wow.
That'll be fun.
Awesome.
She'll connect with you on Facebook so you can keep up.
I've already sent you a friend request.
Oh, all right. Let's do this.
Stalker.
I'll
Star Wars. We got this.
I'll send you guys some links to download that first book about the Holy Hitman.
Yes, please.
And then I'll send you the links to Lunar Ladies too. That one's just like a funny, silly little like 1940s retro style comic. But anyway, I'll send those to you guys.
Awesome.
Cool. That's awesome, man. All right. So everybody go to Amazon, download the book, buy it, download it, and you will not be disappointed. If so, come at me. Don't get on Omar, get on me. But I'll take it for you because I really that much sold on this one. I love this book. So yeah. And,
thank you. Man. I really
and you did say something earlier. I wanted to run back to real quick before we let you out of here.
Yeah.
The monkey. You have to have a character for that. I mean, like a action figure or
Okay.
something. You have
Yeah.
to.
So
Oh,
a
I
marketing company
Yeah.
approached me and said, "Hey, we can do plushies for you." And I thought, okay, Al3 would be beautiful as a plushie, but they said the minimum order quantity is 500, and I was like, "Yo, I do not need 500 plush monkeys eating up my entire garage." So I was like, if I can't do something smaller, like 25, 50, like I can't do it right now. But you know what I was thinking? I could probably find someone on Etsy to crochet me a little, maybe do me 3 or 4, and yeah. I agree with you though. The characters I've created lend themselves really well to collectibles or toys or plushies or
Yeah.
something
Space pirate. Yeah.
of that nature. Yeah. And Tomas, if you notice, like as he transforms when he's out in space, he has like 3 kind of unique looks to him, which is a very George Lucas Star Warsy thing to do. To like there's Luke in the farm boy outfit, then there's Luke in the Bespin fatigues, then there's Luke in the Return of the Jedi black with the green saber. So, but I wanted people subconsciously to think like, oh, like he's different now. He's transforming, right, as he evolves in his hero's journey. So yeah, thanks so much, Glenn, for pimping the book.
I love it, man.
I'll slide you a $5 bill next time I see you.
Hey, you can buy me a Mountain Dew. How about that? I'm cheap.
There you
easy.
go.
I love Mountain Dew. I
Me
love
too.
I don't really drink it much anymore, but
Yeah.
if I had to drink one soda, it would be Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Well, I don't drink coffee, so that's my morning caffeine. So
I don't do caffeine at all. It makes me like kind of shaky, kind of nervous.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through life like that, Omar. I just couldn't get through life. I was a paramedic. I was a night owl, so I had to have something. So I was,
gotcha.
The Mountain Dew kept me up there. Omar, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Like I told them earlier, I was going to ask, and I didn't know if I'd get rejected or not, because I feel like you guys are the next level up in the comic world to people that I have talked to. Not that I'm saying anything wrong with any of the people I've talked to, but I felt like you all had such great stuff that everybody would want it. So,
thank you. Yeah, and everybody's got to start somewhere. I was toiling with my own independent stuff for many years. So you're doing a great thing by giving people an audience and a platform to get their stuff out there. So keep doing it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that reminds me. Tell everybody, go like, follow, share, and subscribe. So, Omar, thank you. I'm gonna let you get out of here. We kept you over too.
Yeah.
But yes, we will be in touch, and you and Amanda can talk about Star Wars and stuff, and come back and
then we can talk about Marvel, you and I, Glenn, and then we can all talk about the Monroe Institute. Hopefully that happens.
Yes,
and some wrestling too. So there you go. All right, Omar. I will see you soon.
See ya.
You're great.
Thanks Omar.
Yeah.
All right,
Bye.
Oh my God, that was great.
Great show. Oh my gosh.
We've ran over with both of them, and I don't mind
know.
one bit. Oh, they were both great. And I'm like, both of them I feel like we could talk to for 2 hours.
Forever.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's stuff really, and people may think I'm getting something out of this. I'm not. I just think that it's great stories and great art, and I think you should go get it. You won't regret it. So both books. So Alienated and Major Tomas. So yeah, but all right. So Amanda, I know you're trying to get on some more shows. So we're gonna see you anywhere soon, or
we'll see.
Okay. All right. Very good.
It's still top secret.
Oh, okay. Not even I know. And I'm her pimp. Good Lord. All right. So, and then, so next week you may not be here, but Cheyenne will be. So,
yes. Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Well, keep us updated. And,
we'll
you can catch me tomorrow between 1 and 3 talking about news stuff and pissing off one side or the other, or both. So
just piss them all off, Glenn. Just everybody.
Well, I'm getting pretty good at it. So, but yeah, so you can catch me there, and then I'm on the Thin Line Rock Station tomorrow noon until 2. So spinning some records. Yeah. So check that out. And and then for anybody that's interested, I had this made up. It's a morale patch, and it's no one rocks alone. It's the multicolored flag for, it's not the thin blue line, it's not the thin red line, it's not the thin yellow line, it's all of them. No one is alone. We're here if you need to talk. So it's also for suicide prevention. So all right, well, I'm going to get out of here because I know you got to go to bed, and well, we got to end this thing sometime. So but it was a great show. It really was.
It was.
And hopefully we'll get him back soon. So hopefully, I thought I pushed the button, didn't I? Yeah, there it is. Oh, all right. Technicalities. My show is already scheduled for tomorrow. I will probably upload this tomorrow to Spotify, and you'll be able to find it on Alexa. Google doesn't have it anymore. Who is it? Whoever the other ones. You can find it anywhere in the next 24 hours. So. Have a great night. Please remember to hit that thumbs up button. Like, follow, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a neighbor. Tell everybody. Next week, we will talk to you soon. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. What's up?
Bye-bye.
Bye.